is a presentation of CN8 Sports.
In 2003, defending Ivy League champ Penn looking for daylight on their way to a perfect 8-0 season. The 8th-ranked Quakers are led by sophomore running back Sam Matthews. The transfer from Navy comes into this game with 12 touchdowns and 6 straight 100-yard games. And they can attack from the air, too. Senior quarterback Mike Mitchell, 6 career 300-yard passing days and almost 5,000 total yards in his career. But as they battle for a second straight Ancient 8 title, it may be their defense that leads the way. Unstoppable up front. Tops in the league in many categories, including rushing defense, total defense, and scoring defense. Standing in their way, Harvard. The Crimson started the season 6-0 behind the magic and power of Ryan Fitzpatrick. But a broken hand against Cornell means he's out. That creates a chance for junior backup Garrett Shires to step in and shine. After a thrilling OT win over Princeton, Harvard, though, has lost 2 straight league games, and they have struggled defensively. Penn can win the title, but Harvard can be the spoiler next. The game plans have all been set, but you hope that both teams have involved Mother Nature and the fickle winter weather here in New England. How about winds at 30 miles an hour and gusts sometimes to 40? It will change the game as Penn and Harvard fight for what could be the Ivy League championship. If you look at the numbers, you'll find out exactly what will happen between these two teams because Penn has already clinched a share of the championship. But if Harvard pulls the upset today, as many as 3 teams could have a shot at the Ivy League title. Welcome in, everybody, from the national landmark Harvard Stadium. Ed Berliner and Bob Norton, thanks so much for joining us. Let's go ahead and talk right away about the offenses here and what they're going to face here. Let's start with the Penn Quakers and Sam Matthews, a sophomore and possibly, well, people are certainly saying the best sophomore ever to play in the Ivy League.
Well, he's a transfer from Navy. Last year at this time, he gained 55 yards against Boston College. He's a heck of a football player. He's out of Mount Lebanon High School, a native of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But what he does that is so exceptional, he's got good speed to the outside, but he's an outstanding cutback runner, cuts back against the grain, finds those cuts upfield, heads north-south. Watch this, cutback against the grain, and we saw against Princeton, that just drove the Harvard defense nuts. They had a lot of trouble with those backside cuts, and Matthews is a master at it.
All right, now let's look at the air game, which we're going to talk about all day long because of this weather. Dan Castle's almost 100 yards per game. What is it that makes him so special?
Well, he's an outstanding receiver, and he's excellent after he catches a football. And I think in today's weather, when you're going to have short passes, you have to be able to run after you catch the football. And he's very good at catching the ball, making the quick move, and picking up yardage upfield. I think you're going to see a lot of short passes and long runs if the passing game is going to be effective.
Now, we've looked at the offense, so let's talk a little bit about this Penn defense that comes in here. Number 1 in the Ivy League, 1 and 2 in a lot of categories. But because of the weather today, that defense actually, instead of having 11 guys on the field, they're going to wind up having 12 men on the field today.
Well, huge help for them. They've got an outstanding pass defense. They've got an outstanding run defense. They're tremendous in all areas of ball. Steve Lotek, their middle linebacker, out of the premier prep school programs in the country, Bergen Catholic High School in Oradell, New Jersey, 23-1 his senior and junior year. He's a tremendous middle linebacker. He can go get the ball, and they're going to be very tough with these wind conditions.
All right, now the guy that's going to face them mostly is going to be Clifton Dawson on the other side of the football for the Harvard Crimson. Now, we talked about one of the best sophomores in Ivy League history. This kid is the best freshman in Ivy League history.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but he's a pretty good football player out of Scarborough, Ontario. He's a transfer from Northwestern, and if they're going to win this football game today, they have got to run the football effectively because this is not a passing day. And Dawson can run it hard, and he runs it inside. He's a north-south runner. He's not explosive in terms of being able to have huge, big gain runs, but he's very effective in the off-tackle hole.
Now, if they are able to get the football in the air, it will likely go to Brian Edwards. He's going to have a tough time today working against this weather.
Well, yeah, but he's very similar to Castles. He's a 400-meter record holder at his high school, so he can run. And the key thing for him is how he does after he catches a ball. I don't think we're going to see those kinds of passes, those long passes. I think we're going to see the short ones where he makes a move and maybe picks up 25 or 30 yards afterwards. But he can run.
Now, with the weather working against them, and as you mentioned, we're not going to see passes like this today, not in this kind of weather, not in the kind of conditions we have here today. But as far as Harvard on the offense is concerned, there's something else working against them. This is a team that has had a lot of injuries here. It has changed the way the ground game is going to work today.
Yeah, well, nobody cares about the injuries after the ball game's over. I mean, you have a lot of injuries, and, the coaches say, well, we got some guys banged up, but at the end of the game, you either win or lose, and you win or lose with who you're playing with. They've got an outstanding offensive line. That offensive line's healthy. That offensive line has to play well, and they got to run the ball well, and they got to run time off the clock so Penn's offense stays off the field.
You go right down to that old coaching axiom, right? Doesn't make any difference how hurt you are, right?
No excuses.
No
you play with who bring you.
We will find out exactly who gets a chance to win the Ivy League championship here today. It's from Harvard Stadium. Harvard and Penn. Stick around, everybody. Bob Norton, Ed Berliner are coming right back right here on CN8. Where is Phil?
They're coming.
Gotcha. From Harvard Stadium in Cambridge, Mass. Once again, welcome back in, everybody. Ed Berliner along with Bob Norton as we get ready. The Penn Quakers have taken the field. And speaking of field level, let's head down to where it's a little chilly today. Third member of our broadcast team, Phil Burton, is with Harvard Crimson head coach Tim Murphy. Phil?
All right, thanks a lot, Ed. You know, everyone's talking about this great coaching matchup tomorrow night at Gillette Stadium, but I'll tell you what, we have a great coaching matchup right here, right now at the stadium. Harvard head coach Tim Murphy has guided the Crimson to a pair of Ivy League titles for the past 6 years, including an undefeated season in 2001, but is coming off back-to-back losses for the first time since the 2000 season. Quakers coach Al Bagnoli has had better success this year. Penn 8-0 looking to clinch another Ivy League title with a victory today, giving the historians another reason to believe Bagnoli era could be the greatest in Penn history. Ed, back to you.
All right, Phil, thanks so much. As we talk about the two coaches here, Bob, between Al Bagnoli and Tim Murphy, what are the differences in the philosophies between these two guys?
Well, I think that Coach Bagnoli loves to run the football, as does Coach Murphy. But, I mean, I think that they've had outstanding running football teams, and they've been able to attract outstanding runners to come there to play football. I think one of the advantages that Penn has that Coach Bagnoli has taken advantage of, they're in a great recruiting area. Now, they recruit kids from all over. Watch this.
And we'll defer.
I could have bet my life savings.
You did, as a matter of fact, I think, so you're rewarded.
Please swing around. Harvard's choice in the first half, and they elect to receive. Shake hands, gentlemen. Let's have a good football game.
Bob Norton is now 1-0 on the game today.
But, you know, getting back to the point, Coach Bagnoli recruits from all over the country, as does Harvard. But they're in an area in New Jersey and Pennsylvania where it's one of the great football recruiting areas in the country. And you look at their roster, they just absolutely kill that Northern Jersey Catholic League, St. Joseph Montfield, Don Bosco, Bergen Catholic. You know, they've got a whole bunch of guys. They've got Central Jersey kids. They've got South Jersey kids, Eastern Pennsylvania, Central Pennsylvania, Western PA. That's where they really have made their money, and they've done a great job of recruiting those areas. And Mitchell, the quarterback, is a kid out of Florida, was an outstanding high school quarterback down in Orlando. So they've done an outstanding recruiting job in a good area.
We saw Al Bagnoli there for a second. With one win in Penn's final 2 games, he ties Carm Koza of Yale for the most outright Ivy championships with 6. All 5 of the Quakers' previous Ivy titles under Bagnoli were outright wins. So they have a chance here to go ahead and get their outright win today.
You know, and just getting back to Coach Murphy, you know, Danny Balistracci is an outstanding player from New Bedford High School, Massachusetts. Massachusetts plays decent high school football relative to Pennsylvania and New Jersey. But, I mean, Coach Murphy doesn't have an area like that Pennsylvania, New Jersey area to recruit. They're a much more national team, and they've got a few Massachusetts kids and a few New England kids, but basically they make their living all around the country. In Pennsylvania, Penn has just been going back to the days of Chuck Bednarik when they've been good. They've been good with kids from within a couple hundred miles of Pennsylvania, of Philadelphia.
Josh Appel is going to be ready to kick off for the Penn Quakers. Corey Waller, the sophomore number 4, is on the near side of the field.
By the way, that's one of the great places to play college football. I talked about this stadium celebrating its 100th anniversary, Franklin Field. If you're a college football player, that's a wonderful, wonderful place to play a game.
Chris Raftery is on the far side. Boot to the football, then let's get it on at Harvard Stadium. Short kick, bounces once, twice, bounces at the 10, and this one's going to be difficult for Raftery because after the bounces, he's got to start near the goal line and barely gets to the 10. 9-yard on the return. Garrett Shires is going to bring him out for the Harvard Crimson, the career backup, the junior out of Fairfax Station, Virginia, and Robinson Secondary High School will lead this team.
I'll tell you, one of the important things for Harvard, they cannot start 3 and out here when they backed up to their, that's exactly what Penn wanted, a mishandled kickoff on a bad weather situation. Wind, very, very difficult, but they've got to start making first downs right now.
Shires with the first down. They will keep it on the ground. No surprise, and no surprise, they don't get far at all because Seth Fisher, the strong safety, is right there to meet up against Clifton Dawson. As you look at Harvard, it'll be Dawson and Blackburn in the backfield. Tyler and Edwards will be on the receiving side. And Matt Fredo will get the most snaps, the senior at tight end for the Crimson. And there's your offensive line made up there, mostly of guys who are seniors and juniors. Loss of 1. It'll be 2nd and 11. Stay on the ground, right side. Picks his way through for a couple of yards. It'll be Rick Sandoval, the junior linebacker, number 32 there for the stop. As we check out the defense for the Penn Quakers. As you also see in there, Steve Small, number 94, did not get the start today. Number 92, Greg Jones, the backup at one of the defensive tackles, is in there. Small, with a back injury, has missed the last 2.
Got to complete a pass here, 3rd down and 8 yards to go, and it is tough going.
3rd and 7. Ryan Fitzpatrick in at quarterback. We should point that out as well, that Fitzpatrick got the start over Shires, whom we expected to start. Steve Lotak, the linebacker, is in there to make the stop.
Well, Lotak and Sandoval. Sandoval made an outstanding play the play previous, 6'1", 240-pound linebacker out of Shady Side Academy in Allison Park, Pennsylvania. And Lotak, we talked about him. Wow, what a football player.
Joe Phillips and Adam Franks are back at the 45-yard line to receive the kick. And this time with the wind. The wind will hold this one up. Near side, ball is bobbled around the 33-yard line. Crimson say they have it. They wait for the Zebras to make the call as they'll get down to the pile.
See, punts are very hard at the field. It's going to be a Penn ball, but punts are going to be adventure all day because that wind looks as if it's blowing right to left, but down on the field, it's a crosswind toward us. It's a swirling wind. Here we see Mike Mitchell out of Orlando, Florida, who's one of the top high school quarterbacks in the state of Florida, and he is one of the top quarterbacks in the history of the University of Pennsylvania. Couldn't have worked out better for Penn, choosing to defer, kicked off. Harvard mishandles the kickoff. Now Penn gets the ball after picking up their own fumble at the Harvard 33-yard line. They're in trouble, Harvard is. Penn is very good running the football in these kind of situations.
From the 33, Mike Mitchell, the senior, number 12, will lead him out for the Quakers. Looks once, looks twice in the backfield. They try the end around, a great fake, because by the time it's done, Dan Castles, the receiver, has it on the far side and is inside the 30-yard line. Gary Sunker, the junior right cornerback, in on the tackle as you look at Penn's backs and receivers, and we've certainly talked about Matthews and Castles an awful lot today. We're going to hear a lot from Sam Matthews today. A guy who gets very sneaky totals. He doesn't really come up there with a great run. All of a sudden you look, and the guy's got 200 yards on the card.
How about that for the opening play? Double reverse on the opening play of the game.
2nd and 5. Mitchell's only got Matthews this time. Quick shot, far side. Castles is there. Ben Butler, the left cornerback, drives him out of bounds. There's a flag on the play.
Yeah, unnecessary roughness. They're going to tack on some yardage, 15 yards to that. That's an outstanding reception there by the wide receiver because he knows exactly where he is. Does Castles, 6'3", 200 out of Tom's River, New Jersey, finds the first down mark and then gets roughed out of bounds.
And as you and I talked, short passes with this kind of wind, because now the wind has shifted and now it's coming from the near side to the far side. We're going to see this all afternoon. Let's look at it again, and you'll see just the short pass here, and then what to look for here is what happens out of bounds. This is called the little too much extracurricular activity when it's all said and done. That's Dante Balistracci, the middle linebacker who came in and got the late push.
Yeah, he's the one that took the penalty. You know, last we take a look at the Harvard defense here, but they're going to be pressed because last week against Princeton, Penn just blew Princeton out in the first part of the game, scored 30 points in the first half. They had 5 fumble recoveries, 4 first-half turnovers. Ball game was over.
From the 11 now, that Harvard defense will face off Penn, taking advantage of the wind, their defense, and a poor Harvard beginning on offense. From the gun, Mitchell. Near side, got a receiver down the middle, incomplete. Looking for Joe Phillips. The senior receiver, Chris Raftery, the senior free safety, was there to defend him at the goal line.
Phillips had a step on him to the inside, and I think Mitchell would love to have this one back again. He is a 63.3 career pass accuracy thrower, and that's one he would like to have because that was a touchdown. Receiver had a step on the defender, and he threw it a little too far in front of him. But this, as we said a number of times, not an easy day to throw in either direction.
2nd and 10 from the 11.
Audible.
Mitchell will change the play. See Matthews come up a couple of steps. Stands as the blocker. Again, that quick pop out to the far side to Castles is incomplete. Ricky Williamson, one of the guys there on defense, along with Juan O'Queen, the outside linebacker, number 30 right there. He's a senior out of Atlanta, Georgia. A lot of these guys coming from warm weather. They're going to have a little shocker here today, of course, but I imagine they've been there before.
I think this would be a tremendous moral victory for Harvard's defense if they can squeeze out of here with a field goal attempt. This is a very big down for them. 3rd down and 10.
Castles, the guy to watch on the far side. They shift, bring him up to the line on 3rd down. Mitchell, pass at the 5. Quakers, touchdown.
Mitchell to Brian Adams, touchdown.
Brian Adams, the senior tight end out of Jackson, New Jersey. And the moral victory goes by the boards as he was wide open, cutting across the 5-yard line, and the Crimsons surrender.
Well, that's a very difficult pass to defend because they brought the tight end in motion from right to left, and then what he did, he got lost, and the defensive secondary just ran a little circle pattern and was wide open.
Peter Veldman will come on for the extra point.
He's a good one.
Gabe Marabella sets it down. Kick is good. 12:04 to go in the first quarter. And Penn draws first shot here in the game at Harvard Stadium. Let's look at it again, Bob.
Well, right to left motion by Adams. Now he's lined up on the right side as you see it. There's a little delay. See him delay at the line of scrimmage, and he's going to sneak out and let that defensive coverage get deep. Watch him on the left side. He's in motion, hold, now swing left to right. Nobody there to pick him up. Excellent pass development, excellent pass creation, coming in to take advantage of what Harvard was doing on the defensive in their defensive coverage on the goal line.
And a couple of nice picks in there, to go ahead and use the phrase, as they basically screened several members of the Harvard defense from coming in to set up that lane.
Well,
nice job.
Yeah, anytime you delay a receiver, particularly in a goal line situation, you bring him in motion, and now you just sit him there and delay him a little bit, let him slide out to the left and come over across the middle. It becomes very difficult to defend because there's a lot of traffic in that area, and that was a very well-conceived play by the Penn defense to get him wide open and free in the end zone, and well thrown.
It'll be Raftery and Waller once again to receive the kick. 5 plays, 32 yards, 1 minute and 2 seconds, just like that.
Well, you know what? Right now they're right back against it again because there's 12 minutes left to go in the first period, and they're taking the ball again deep in their own territory.
Line drive kick again, near side. One of the up guys thought about picking it up. Waller at the 10. 1 block and a hurdle, 15, and that's where it'll stop. Penn covers it well that time. Number 8, Jonathan Robinson, the senior out of Memorial High School in West New York, New Jersey, on a return of 7 yards. Fitzpatrick will come back in to lead the offense. And again, we had thought that Garrett Shires would get it, but Fitzpatrick, healthy, coming back in.
Yeah, I watched
with a 63% pass completion rate.
He's a good one. I watched him throw the ball before the game. Looked like he was throwing it well, but again, pregame practice and game conditions different.
From the 17, nowhere to go, nowhere to run to. nowhere to hide. Everybody comes in that time on the defense for the Penn Quakers. Ryan Strollendorf, the nose guard, number 86, one of the guys there. Want to also point out again the change we made at the first. Steve Small, the junior, number 94, was starting at one of the defensive tackles. 92, Greg Jones, the backup, is actually in there for him today. Small got a back injury, missed the last 2 games, and they don't really miss much with Jones in there at 6'2", 235. Loss of 2. Second down. Tyler motion. They'll stay the run left side and stuffed hard.
I want to tell you something. They don't make a first down. They're looking at potential at another touchdown, giving up another touchdown because they're going to be punting into a gale. You have to make first downs. You can't be backed up against the wall against this kind of wind and not make first downs. And they've just tried a couple of fluky kind of plays, and they had the confidence to line up behind that offensive line and see if they can make some yardage straight ahead. So they're in a 3rd and 9 situation, and this just feeds right in the hands of Penn.
Michael Sangbeloe in on the tackle that time on Clifton Dawson. 3rd down and 12. Not even 5 minutes gone, and Harvard looking at a failure on their second series, and it fails again. This one under pressure. The pass intended for Clifton Dawson, and Ryan Fitzpatrick again in the Crimson are going to kick it away and put Penn back on offense.
Low-tack gave pressure. He blitzed from his left linebacker position, looped around, put a lot of pressure on Fitzpatrick. Didn't have time to throw the football. Low-tack missed 4 games this year with an injury, and Penn still where they are, but he's a whale of a football player.
Adam Kingston will kick it away. And Adam Franks, midfield. Missed 1, 2, and they finally bring him down. Penn will set up shop from there inside the 45-yard line after a 35-yard punt and a 5-yard return. The Quakers 7, the Crimson nothing. We're back at Harvard Stadium right here on CN8. Hey, Bob, all I heard from you was 7 and then 1 on the countdown. Well, yeah, please. Would be nice if you'd like. That's all right. I figured as much. That's why I didn't know if if it was wrong or right. I figured I'd dance until you said, shut up! Gotcha. Okay. Nice and smart. Everything good. Nice job, by the way. That's good. You get it in there on the tackle, and you're able to get the first guy. Like if you hit... If this is like first guy, maybe if there's a tackle, maybe first guy, second guy in if you want to do that, third guy if you want, depending how far you want to go. That's beautiful. Thank you.
But you picked up one. I picked out one guy.
That's okay. I'm always going to look for it anyway, so you're there as a post and a backup for me. Reminder that coming up next, not from Harvard Stadium, but on the Comcast Varsity Sports Zone. Hey, it's that time of year. Teams are battling for the playoffs. Coaches, players, fans all get pumped up, and it doesn't get any better than this in prep sports. If you're looking for some of the region's best hard-hitting high school football action, there's nowhere else to go in New England. Right here on CN8. Just get it in the zone. Bob Norton and Ed Berliner and the crew, welcome back to Harvard Stadium. Penn is going to go back on offense again, and that's a frightening thought for the Harvard Crimson right now with 10:22 to go at the 44-yard line. Mike Mitchell will set up shop. Plenty of time. Long strike on the money at the 20, the 10. Touchdown, Penn Quakers. Dan Kessels. One shot, one time, 2 defensive backs. And we're working on a blowout already in the first quarter from the Quakers side of things.
You got to make that play. Ricky Williamson goes to the interception and misses it. And when you're playing against Castles, you've got to make sure that you either hit him simultaneously if you cough up the ball or get the interception. Williamson goes for it, misses it, touchdown.
One play, 9 seconds. And just like that, they'll line it up again. And a young man who may get an awful lot of work today by the time it's done, Peter Feldman, makes good on the work. Penn's got a 14-0 lead. Bob, look at it again and see how easy it is when you put the ball right on the money.
Well, Mitchell throws the ball right on the money, but he threaded the needle here. Watch Williamson. Williamson looked as if he was going for a play and doesn't get the interception or the tackle. And as a result, what we have is a touchdown. Here again, you see it plays pretty well defended, but nobody gets Right there. You go for the play, and you don't make the play, don't make the tackle, and that's what happens.
Castles has had 3 games at over 100 yards this season. He's going to get short yardage here today, but it's going to be on the touchdowns right now for Dan Castles. He now has 16. That's all-time for Penn, and that is 4th all-time. He is 1 away from 3rd on the all-time record. That's Don Clune in the early 70s.
That's very frustrating from a coaching standpoint as we take a look at the Penn scoring drive, that you have 2 players there, Benny Butler and Williamson, right there to make a play, and no one can make a play. And as a result, what you have is you're down 14-0, and this is reminiscent of what happened last week. Is this Penn team just blew Princeton out in the first half. You know, you got to make. Harvard's had the ball twice, hasn't made a first down yet. If they don't make a first down, if they can't control the football and put some, run some time off the clock and make some yardage, they're going to play themselves right out of the game.
Near side kick again. That's Corey Waller, who's going to let it run and hopefully into the end zone, and he got exactly what he wanted. But boy, I'll tell you, that was a gamble right there too, as it was heading for the corner.
Well, what they've done is they've hit a lot of wedge shots this Penn kicking game, and it's been very effective because Harvard twice has had trouble handling the kickoff, and that time the choice was field the kickoff as it's going out of bounds up against the sidelines, or let it go. I think he made the right decisions, but it's the Penn kickoff style here in the opening part of the game that's caused Harvard trouble. They haven't been able to organize a return.
So the junior out of Gilbert, Arizona, Highland High School, Ryan Fitzpatrick, will bring him out and see if he can bring out the first down of the game from the 20, keeping it on the ground and not much at all. Gets Clifton Dawson. Rick Sandoval, the linebacker, the junior, one of the guys in there, first to make the contact and bring him down after a gain of about 4. He could even make it 4.5 at this point. Dawson closing in on 1,000 yards. He's had a wonderful season, but I don't think he's come up against a defense like this.
But that's a huge play for them because they made plus yardage and leaves them in a reasonable 2nd and 6. They got to make first downs.
2nd 6, long 6, short 5. Call it in. Fitzpatrick. Nothing on the near side. He's going to tuck this one down and drive for the 30. Close to the first down.
That's well played out on the perimeter by Pennsylvania again, because Fitzpatrick is very dangerous when he takes this thing and bootlegs it outside. Doug Middleton, the defensive back on the right side, just stayed right at home. Fitzpatrick very close to a first down, very tough rusher. You can see there his rushing statistics are excellent. But again, Harvard's put themselves in position with that Fitzpatrick run, 2 runs, about 5 yards there, up to about the 3rd of the yard.
Michael Sang-Belowy also in on that tackle as well. 3rd and 1, a chance to make their initial first down of the game. Fitzpatrick the dive, and he'll have the first down and a couple yards more. Moral victory, numerical victory for this team right now.
No,
that's first down on the board. It's a big one.
It's a big one. But I'll tell you why it's huge, Ed. You got to change field position here. You know, they've kicked it twice, and twice, Penn's one time at the 30, the other time at the 49. Even if you don't score a touchdown or get any points on the board, you got to get Penn down their end of the field.
Feel that collective sigh that just came out of the Crimson sideline. 1st and 10 now from the 31-yard line.
I'd run Dawson straight ahead again. I would try to, don't do anything cute, just try to get behind the line.
Try the pass again near side. Way overthrown. Corey Mazza, the freshman, was out there. It's number 27. Deval Thompson, the left cornerback, on defense. 2nd and 10.
I realize that Penn's got a great defense. I understand that. But you have to trust that your offensive line can make some yardage with an outstanding running back, and you can get yourself out of this hole. If they have to punt again, they are in nothing but big-time trouble.
2nd down. Man in motion. Ryan Tyler near side. Fitzpatrick will keep it on the ground. They may get a first down on this one, and indeed they do. Clifton Dawson, the guy who forces people to make mistakes at 5'10" and 190 as he pulls his way over the left side. And he'll grab another first down. 2nd of the game, and Harvard's finally got the machine working.
Well, that's what they have to be able to do. They have to be able to keep themselves out of those kind of long yardage situations. That's a run on 2nd and 10. And the reason it's a run is it's just extremely difficult to throw the ball with any accuracy going this way, left to right.
Sang-Belowy finally nailed him down. Another first down. Again, Dawson, left side, fights for hard yards in the middle of the field.
Dawson to the 48.
Bring it out to the 48-yard line. Steve Lotak one of the guys in on the tackle. Also Rick Sandoval, the linebacker. Those are the two linebackers in what comes out as basically a 5-2 set for the Penn Quakers.
That's exactly what it is. 50 defense, nose guard lined up on the center.
2nd and 5. No surprise. Brown, Dawson. This time they string him out. Tries to stay on his feet. Deval Thompson was one of the guys out there who banged him back behind the 45-yard line to keep him from moving any farther. Again, Sangabaloe, the junior out of the Bronx, and Fordham Prep in on the tackle.
Fordham Prep's historically been one of the outstanding prep school football programs around, and this one, Dawson, I thought if he cut it back up inside, he wouldn't have had negative yardage. The problem, they cannot make negative yardage. Big time problem when they do that.
Pat McManus, the left cornerback, was the guy who made first contact at 3rd and 8. Fitzpatrick will have to eat it, and he does just that. There he is again, Sangabaloe. It's lyrical, it's musical, it's also painful if you're a quarterback, because it's going to mean another 4th down for the Harvard Crimson.
Well, at least they got themselves to the midfield, so close to the midfield spot. Kingston has actually kicked the ball pretty well into the wind both times he's kicked. The last one was about a 35-yard punt.
Adam Franks awaits the kick from Adam Kingston. Good kick. Come down to the 25. Finally, you hear a lot of pads hitting as they finally bring him down. Does the Harvard Crimson. There's a flag on the play. Late flag on the play. That time in on the tackle for Harvard, number 44, Kelly Widman, the sophomore tight end in there on special teams. We'll see what the flag is going to be after a 28-yard punt and a 4-yard return.
There were a bunch of flags, so more than one official saw it.
Personal foul against the Crimson.
This is just shooting yourself in the foot, because you've got them now. First time you had him.
No, wait a minute. He
the other way.
He corrected himself.
Take that shot out of the foot.
It was a blank.
Couldn't tell in the crowd who was on.
Foul. Personal foul. Late hit after the play on the return team. 15-yard penalty. 1st down.
Okay, so move the bullets over to the other side of the field that time on that shot. Watch number 6, left side of your screen, and you'll see the hit, which was called for the late shot for Penn. That's Brad Martinez, a sophomore defensive back in on special teams. So finally, Harvard gets a break, and they're going to back Penn up to the 15 with a 14-point lead here in the 1st quarter. Mitchell out of Orlando, Florida, in Colonial High School. Quarterback for Penn. They go to work. On the ground, and they're not going to get much. Sam Matthews again.
Well, this is where Princeton just drove them crazy a couple of weeks ago with those backside cuts. And Sam Matthews does a same kind of thing, just cuts backside. We didn't have any room to run, and Harvard defends that very, very effectively as they stay at home. Chris Raftery makes the play, just staying at home on the left-hand defensive side.
Brian Garcia, the left end, in on the tackle after a gain of 1. Matthews. 43, Bobby Everett, the outside linebacker, came in, the junior. They grab him around the waist and stop him from going any farther. 3rd down.
Coach Bagnoli playing close to the vest there, and hurry up offense here, right back up in the line of scrimmages. Harvard's trying to situationally substitute, and they're not lined up. Now they are.
Mitchell will go from the gun as Harvard tries. A quick change on the defense. Signals made. They're all done. Go to work. And even Mitchell, with 2 seconds left on the clock, gets it off. Pass again, going the same route they went last time to try and get the quick hitter. This time looking for number 8, Jonathan Robinson. Was out there, goes incomplete. Harvard, big break now. They hold the Quakers deep, and they're going to get good field position out of this.
That was a good job of defense by Harvard. They needed to come up and keep Penn on their side of the 50-yard line, and not allow them. The 15-yard penalty helped enormously because it pushed Penn back inside their own 20.
Brian Edwards back to receive the kick. Pell gets another line drive. It's going to take a bounce. They're claiming that it hit one of the Penn players at the 50-yard line. The Harvard players are. The ball bounces down to the 29. You could see them immediately calling to the officials. But the officials are not going to have any of it right now.
Well, they're going to talk about it.
While the fight goes on here on the field, let's remind you that the fight in the form of boxing returns to Philadelphia tonight. As Philadelphia's own Ivan Robinson takes on the USBA junior welterweight champion Michael Stewart in the 12th round. That'll be a brawl. Also on the card, Anthony the Messenger Thompson will look to extend his unbeaten streak to 14 wins. Want to catch all of that hard-hitting action tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on CN8.
It's interesting now. The old fighters didn't have nicknames, but were better fighters. Now we have nicknames and they're worse fighters.
I think that's true, too. Fitzpatrick crossing midfield, and he's going to go to the air. First time he's got single coverage, and he overthrows the intended receiver, Brian Edwards. Duval Thompson was with him. He had him led perfectly, just a fingertip or two past his grasp.
That's a great throw by Fitzpatrick because that's a post pattern from the right-hand side. Watch the wide receivers lined up left's going to come down the right across the middle of the screen. Safety's reacting back, but he's behind the play. Edwards is open. He has a move to the inside, but the ball is slightly overthrown, and it's just very difficult to throw accurately with the wind.
From the 45. This time, Fitzpatrick will keep it. Brian Arguello is there to make the final hit. Pat McManus, the left corner, also in on the tackle. He drives it down near the 35-yard line.
Pre-designed play for Fitzpatrick. He's such an effective runner. They fake the handoff left to right to the running back. Then he just delays and runs almost what's like a draw up over left guard, left tackle. He's about a yard short of the first.
Third, make it 2. 0 for 3 on third down conversions. And he might have been 1 for 4 if not for a slip at the 40-yard line as his feet come out from underneath him. You can basically say that Robert Fallon, the left defensive end, got in there, but Ryan Fitzpatrick helped to make that an easy tackle.
Well, there's probably Harvard fans groaning up in the stands that from the 38-yard line they're going to punt, but I think this is exactly the right decision. This is a field position kind of game, and you cannot give Penn any kind of short field where they already have a 14-0 lead. Penn them back in there. Maybe they'll make a mistake, and Harvard will have a chance. But Penn has been very, very solid offensively.
Kingston will drive it high. Franks will take it at the 8-yard line. Good coverage as they keep him inside the 15-yard line. Nice job that time on special teams. Dante Balistracci was one of the first on a 31-yard punt and a 6-yard return. And again, I think you're absolutely correct, Bob. As far as this game is concerned, with as powerful as the Quakers are on offense, drive them back. Get that field position. You're still in this game. It's only 14 points, only in a relative sense.
That's right. Well, with the weather conditions the way they are, it's very difficult, unless you're on the ground, and Matthews just runs wild. It's very difficult to be able to run offense for 80 yards, 85 yards down the field without having something bad happen to you.
Mitchell now with a first down from the 14. Handoff, and Balistracci is right there.
Well, that's the way to stop the cutback. Balistracci, as soon as he saw action to his side, he was lined up over there to the left. He penetrated, came across the line of scrimmage. They're going hurry-up offense again. Harvard not able to situationally substitute.
After no gain, maybe about a foot on the play if they're lucky. Well, it's 2nd and 9 then. Let's give them the yard. Mitchell calls the play out of the gun. Looking far side. Fires incomplete. Bobby Everett was there on the coverage as they went looking for Joe Phillips, the senior receiver of Shawnee High in Medford Lakes, New Jersey. 0 for 2 on third downs are the Penn Quakers, even though they lead by the 14-point margin.
That ball should have been caught by Phillips. That's where you have to throw the ball. You don't want to put that ball up high and give Harvard any chance to intercept it. Mitchell threw the ball exactly where he should have. Phillips couldn't come up with the catch.
Mitchell 3 of 7 for 61 yards and the 2 early touchdowns. Third down, long 10, short 9. Here comes Mitchell on his 8th pass attempt of the game. Downfield, wide open this time is Phillips. Out of the grasp of Bobby Everett. Chris Raftery, the free safety, finally brings him down. They drive him out of bounds, and it's a first down for the Quakers.
Well, they had Bobby Everett on him, linebacker, defensive back on him, one-on-one coming down the field, and he just shook him coming over the middle. Very difficult to cover that kind of pass as Phillips was lined up as a slot. A lot of time to throw the football. You got to get some pressure on the quarterback. He'll pick you apart if you give him that kind of time.
First set of downs for Phillips and crew to go to work. Mitchell sets him down. They'll run, get a couple of yards. Bobby Everett is there to meet Sam Matthews as he crosses the 35-yard line. Gets a couple.
One of the interesting things in today's game, Clifton Dawson for Harvard and Sam Matthews for Penn are both Division I transfers. Matthews from Navy and Dawson from Northwestern. Now, if you transfer from a Division I program to Division I program, you have to sit out a year. When you transfer from Division I to 1AA, you're immediately eligible. And both these boys playing this year after transferring, playing last year at Northwestern and Navy.
Matthews 6 yards on 4 carries. Comes out to about 1.5 yards average here as they go for 2nd and 8. Handoff, he'll bounce out. Might have been a face mask. I saw it in there. Brad Payne, the right end, I think, got a piece of his face mask. You can see his head yank aside. Dante Balistracci in on the tackle. But Payne's going to get called for the face mask.
This is the kind of penalty that just absolutely kills you because Harvard actually had that play pretty well defended. They were only going to be able to pick up a couple of yards, going to put him in 3rd and long. Yet Payne puts a grab on the face mask, and that's going to give them the first down. There it is right there. That's unnecessary, boy, I tell you. They had it. You see all those maroon shirts around there. They had the play well defended.
Face mask on the defense. 5 yards tacked on to the end of the run. Still 2nd down.
Payne, one of the 3 seniors working that defensive front. 3 seniors and a junior for the Crimson. 2 penalties and 16 yards it's cost the Crimson at this point. It'll be 2nd down. Make it the 42-yard line on a 2nd and 3. Clock heading towards 1 minute left here in the opening quarter from Harvard Stadium. Mitchell, Matthews, and nothing but a mess of players. Led there by Ben Butler, the left cornerback, was involved in that. Balistracci was there. Juan O'Queen, the outside linebacker, and several dozen of their friends, or at least it seemed, with the massive red shirts.
Nice job by Bobby Everett, the defensive back to that side, too, coming up and make the tackle. That was a 2 tight end offense by Penn, trying to pick up that yardage with Matthews running off tackle, and Bobby Everett came in from the linebacker spot. Just made a superb tackle at the line of scrimmage. 1 of 3 on 3rd downs for the Quakers. 3rd and 3. Need to get to the 45-yard line. Far side. Got a man, got a first down. Joe Phillips. Run out of bounds. Gary Sunker, the right cornerback. One of those in there driving him out, but another first down for the Quakers. A very, very difficult pass. It's thrown accurately to defense. Slot back, inside receiver just does a 5-yard turnout. Quarterback, plenty of time to throw the ball, puts the ball right in the money.
And again, a play they have used a couple of times, and this time they're going to get an interference flag.
They should.
On the first down.
Well, you can see it from, I mean, it was pretty easy interference to see. Juan O'Queen did a grab coming across the 45-yard line. Well, I don't know. I thought he might have been complaining a little bit.
No, he knew it because he was jumping up and down. He jumped up and said, "That's." And it was almost one of those things you could hear him go, "I knew it," and I got caught.
Pass interference on the defense. Penalized at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Spot of the foul is at the 39-yard line, and he'll get a chance to see it.
Watch number 30 right in the right corner of your screen on Phillips. Can't do that. Grabbed him with the right arm, so I almost spun him around.
Phillips puts his hand up and says, teacher, call quick.
Yeah, you don't want to
make the call.
You want to make sure the officials don't miss it.
Wonder how many times the officials say if you raise your hand once too often to make the call yourself so often, they're going to come back and maybe make you pay for one down the line. 3 penalties and 26 yards it's cost Harvard. First down, 39-yard line. Quakers. Mitchell with plenty of time. but that time as he throws the pass to Matthews, Dante Balistracci, the senior out of New Bedford High. The kid that Boston College said wasn't fast enough. Somebody missed the block, and he was right there.
Well, what he did that time, man, he smelled screen pass all the way. They were trying to run screen. They were trying to hit Phillips, who's a very effective pass receiver out of the backfield, and he smelled it out.
First quarter is over. 14 points early for Penn. Harvard's hanging tough. We're back from Harvard Stadium right here on CN8. Who's that? Where's he been? Has he?
Zakuma, he's played before.
Zakuma, yeah, I think I've seen him before. Right, he wasn't on the two deep. Good catch. Let's see. 25. 25, yeah, Monte Zakuma. Good. Reminder to everybody to tune in Sunday at 2:30. Somebody's got to tell me this, crying out loud. Welcome back to Harvard Stadium, everybody, and a reminder to tune in Sunday at 2:30 for CN8's coverage of the South Atlantic Regional Figure Skating Championships. You can see the future stars of American figure skating, and it's only right here on CN8 Sunday at 2:30. Ed Berliner, Bob Norton, and the crew back at Harvard, where the Crimson have been able to hang in now, down by 14 points. I thought it was going to be a quick blowout here. 2 series, 2 touchdowns, but Harvard's managed to hang in tight.
Well,
one shot that Penn hurt themselves on.
Yep, you got to scratch, kick, and bite here to keep yourself in the game.
From the 46, second 17 after the loss. One pump and wide open. Dan Castles. Juan O'Queen was there, but doing the acrobatics. Castles has the first down for Penn.
Well, this is just outstanding execution by Pennsylvania. They throw the ball over Butler and in front of Queen, and you know Queen's got to come over there and make that play. Watch the play develop. A little slant, a little pump fake. Butler, the receiver, gets beyond Butler in front of Queen, and that's the second time that Harvard's had a defender right in the spot and not make the play.
Inside the 15-yard line. Flag is down as the pass is incomplete.
Lions will call a penalty. My guess would be some kind of offside.
Gabe Marabella, the intended receiver, on the near side of the field. Flag came down. It'll be motion on the Quakers. Set them back.
I didn't pick up where it was, but it was on one of the 2 wide receivers over here to the near side, to the right side of the formation. Well, I'll tell you, you watch Mitchell. He's been off on a couple of the passes, but on the big ones, he's been on money.
Illegal formation, 6-man lined up on the line of scrimmage, offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
When that happens, that means that your slot man ended up, if he was a man who was supposed to be off, ended up on the line of scrimmage, and on those 2 receivers, one's back and one's up, and they probably both up.
2 calls and 20 yards it's cost the Quakers. It'll be 1st and 15 now from the 23. Balistracci trying to get right up in the middle, but the play goes the other way away from the hole that he left behind. Nice hole opened up by that senior offensive line as they drive down inside the 20 towards the 15-yard line.
They're in the hurry-up offense again. That's something you pick up on film. They went motion, and when they went motion, they drew Balistracci with the motion man, and when they ended up executing the play, they ran right over the spot that Balistracci had vacated. Excellent, well-conceived play by Pennsylvania. Looked like they picked that one up, and what they did on film used the motion man effectively.
Mention that offensive line for the Penn Quakers. 5 across, 5 seniors. They've been together for years. That's why they play so well. Good play action this time. Matthews bounces out left side of the 5-yard line. Chris Raftery, the free safety, one of the guys there.
Well, this is the play that we watched Harvard play a couple of weeks ago against Princeton. This is the kind of thing that just gave them fits. The cutback by the running back, plays designed to go off right guard, right tackle, and the running back in this case, Matthews, cuts it all the way back to the left side of the formation, and no one there to make the tackle.
First and goal, long 7. Fake to Matthews, corner, touchdown, Quakers. Just that easy. Kevin DeSmet, the junior out of Bishop Eustace High School in Malden, New Jersey.
Well, it's one of the toughest plays they ran there to cover in all of football. It's counter trap pass. It's a counter to the right side with the fullback faking left and going out into the flat. Linebacker's got to pick him up. It's very, very difficult to do. It was made famous, most famous, as a play by Delaware. And whenever you run that pass, it's pitch and catch.
It's exactly what it was. In a corner of the end zone where it was almost too easy. Bobbled on the snap. They're going to have to scramble. That's Gabe Marabella, the holder, who throws it into the end zone and completes. Brad Payne. The right end is there. What turns out to be a botched play, and everything works well for the Quakers as they now get 2 instead of the 1. Look at it again. First the touchdown.
Well, there's the fullback out of the backfield. Away from formation on the counter. See, there's counter. And then that first man you fake to heads into the flat. Linebacker's got to pick him up. It's very, very difficult to do. And frequently you don't. And that's what happened on that play. That time he found the tight end. Whenever that happens, you have a missed field goal hold. You make a fire call. Everybody just plays offense.
I correct myself on the 2-point conversion. Matt Boyer, actually
right.
number 91 out of the Penn Quakers, and I apologize to Matt for not having it in there, but Matt's the guy who gets the 2.
And everybody's got a call. Frequently it's a call like fire. When you have a botch snap like that, the holder calls fire, and you have pre-arranged things to do. And what happens on that kind of play, you worry about having a lineman downfield. That's what you worry about. But the tight end knows what he's supposed to do. All the eligible receivers know what they're supposed to do. Holder did a good job there of just buying himself some time, found Boyer in the end zone, and executed that perfectly.
22-0 with about a minute and a half gone here in the second quarter. 12 plays, 86 yards. Make it 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the drive.
Very similar to what they did to Princeton, where they took advantage of 4. There haven't been turnovers here this half. It's been really excellent execution by Pennsylvania, but they took advantage of 4 Princeton turnovers last week to put 30 on the board.
Harvard to get their hands on the football again. Corey Waller is the guy on the far side of the field. Chris Raftery on the near side. They'll have to go ahead and hold it this time after the wind has been whipping the football around. Stiff breeze here now goes from basically the kicker's right to left, if you wanted to call it. The American flag in the closed end of the stadium is snapping pretty solid right now, thanks to the gusts we've had up to 40 miles an hour here today. Kick return comes up again short. They'll get it to the 35-yard line. With a 22-0 lead, thanks to that 14-yard return. Before we get into that, let's remind everybody that last year, Harvard at Penn came in week 9. Both teams were 5-0 walking into this game. Harvard, the defending champion. Stephen Falk with an 18-yard touchdown pass. That came in the second quarter. 4 minutes later, Mitchell to Castles for 12 yards. And then 3 minutes later, it was Mitchell to Blinder for 33 yards. The route was on. By the time everything was done, it was a 44-9 score. Next week, Penn beat Cornell to go 9-1 and win their 12th title. They get back to live action here at Harvard Stadium. It's an unfortunate reminder for the Crimson.
That was a good job of running right there by Clifton Dawson, because they had that play snuffed out. A little trap to the inside, and Stefanski, the linebacker, came right up through the chute, and Dawson lowered the shoulder, beat him, and picked up the 4 yards where there really was no room.
Second down now from the 39-yard line. Fitzpatrick got room to run. Midfield and more as he dives to the 45-yard line. Seth Fisher, the junior strong safety there, to finally bring him down. It's the kind of thing you have to do as a quarterback. Sometimes you have to take control.
Well, I think that's what's going to have to happen. When you're down by the 22-0 in the first half, Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to have to make a lot of plays like that just to individually try to make things happen here offensively, because this is a great defense you're playing against from Pennsylvania.
From the 45. Fitzpatrick has got 24 yards on the ground today to add to the offensive numbers. Got time, but won't have a receiver as he's driven out. With about 12 minutes in running here in the first half left to go. Down to the field. Let's bring Phil Burton into the fray. Phil?
Hey, Ed, Quakers coaches are telling that defensive line to make sure they get that hard push, especially on 3rd and short. When they do that, they're just suffocating Fitzpatrick and hence squeezing the life out of the offense.
That's a good word, hence.
The life out of it, absolutely.
That's a good word, hence.
Hence squeezing the life.
Excellent.
That's why we have Phil on the crew. He's the English major.
He elevates us a bit.
Exactly. Brings us up to Harvard levels.
Yes.
2nd and 10 from the 45. Handoff nowhere. Clifton Dawson didn't have a whole lot of room to run, thanks in part to a couple of the guys who were there. Robert Fallon, the left defensive end, was one of the guys who brought him down. Loss of 1.
Well, I talked about the New Jersey connection, Pennsylvania connection. You keep looking around at him. That was Pat McManus, got in the backfield, forced that play, the cornerback out of Westwood, New Jersey, and St. Joseph Montville.
Dawson with 9 carries and 23 yards on the day. It'll be 3rd down. Another big 3rd down for the Harvard Crimson. And again, everyone is big at this point when you're down by 22. Time, midfield, at the 25-yard line.
Complete to Brian Edwards at the 25.
Brian Edwards is there. Rudy Brown, the right cornerback, brings him down. Edwards, the go-to guy out of Los Gatos High in Los Gatos, California, puts the Crimson in business at the 24-yard line. Look at it again.
Well, he has plenty of time to throw. Good job of protection by the Harvard offensive line. And Edwards, remember he talked about it, he holds a 400-meter record in his high school. He can run. Offside. Harvard's going
Flags
back
are all
five.
over. Harvard's going to back up.
Yeah, fullback hiccup.
It has taken to 10:35 in the second quarter until we...
Dead ball foul. False start prior to the snap. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeats first down.
Bob knows where I'm going with this one. 10:35 to go, and the first hiccup of the game has shown its dual syllabic nature here. There you go. See that word too much in football games, all right? We'll try and squeeze it in. 1st and 15 now from the 30-yard line. Got protection finally under pressure. Tries to squeeze that one out to Brian Edwards. Actually, if you looked over there, he had Clifton Dawson open on the far side. All he had to do was swing it out, and Dawson had plenty of room to run.
Yeah, he was wide open, alone on the right-hand side. All the action was over to the left part of the formation. Fitzpatrick has good vision, but he just didn't see. You know, it's easy from up here to see him, but it's not always as easy down there.
Put yourself down there sometime.
No, thank you.
2nd and 15.
Not in my present physical condition.
Receivers in the slot, near side. Fitzpatrick will look to that near side. He's got to go to the safety valve. Dawson, 25. Nice move to the 20. Spun to the 15-yard line. There were a couple of guys in there who caught him. Pat McManus started to spin him around a little bit.
McManus put a lick on him. I mean, one of the things Dawson impresses me as a freshman, he holds on to the football. He takes a whacks and still holds on to the ball.
Robert Fallon, number 50, the junior, whom we've talked about. He was also in on the tackle to manage to finish it off. Late arriving, but still got the job done. They'll measure.
Yeah, Bobby Fallon's a good football player, 6'3", 230 at Fort Lauderdale.
Seen that kid play, too, at a Cardinal Gibbons High School. That's a school that turns out a lot of good football players
He's
there.
another one who can run.
There's the distance for the first down.
While in Harvard's situation, they've got to. I wouldn't be. You got 2 shots at it.
2 shots, yep.
You know, a little action to Dawson and getting up, maybe looking for Edwards on some kind of post. Get that safety man sneaking up in there, thinking run. Fitz clearly decided to turn this football game over to Fitzpatrick and let him see if he can win it, throwing the ball and getting it to Dawson in the flat. It makes some things happen.
Crimson are 1 of 5 on third downs. Down by 22. 2 quick strike touchdowns by the Quakers. A second quarter score. And Harvard's got a big hole to dig out of. They're just going to dive and give it to Fitzpatrick. I believe they'll get the first down. Good push for the offensive line. Andy Smith, Joe Traverso, Brian Latham, and the whole crew there on the left side gave him a nice push.
Looked like they had a chance over there on that left side. You know, they had single coverage on Edwards with Rudy Brown, but they decided to take the easy money.
Will Johnson also in there, one of the members of the offensive line that time. Johnson actually
Take the easy money.
Will Johnson also in there, one of the members of the offensive line that time. Johnson actually now in its center. Sophomore out of Tustin High as they get a first down. They'll go right from the quick inside draw to Dawson and let him go to work inside the 10. Finally, they drag him down.
This is just an excellent run by Dawson. That's a little delay counter off the right side, and it opens up. He just looks, comes left to right. Watch him. He's going to find that hole, gets behind his right guard, slips up inside. Excellent blocking up front by Harvard, and a good run. Bill Johnson, the center, swung out there to make that play.
Luke Hatton finished it off. Seth Fisher was the guy, the strong safety, who got a hand on him on his shoe tops to make it second down and 2. Dawson, big hole, right side. And he'll have the first down. First and goal for the Crimson.
Once again, Harvard runs behind their center, number 57. Bill Johnson. He's done a nice job early on. One of the things that amazes me about these linemen, we would never have thought back in the back a few years back to pull centers in offensive line play. These guys are bigger and stronger than they've ever been, and they pull them. Lead plays.
Dawson 34 yards on 11 carries. First and goal for the Crimson from the 3. Second man through is Dawson, and the Crimson touchdown.
Touchdown, Harvard.
Well, they made that one look a little easy. That certainly gets the Harvard fans excited. Went right behind Johnson again.
Finally on the board. Finally something to talk about, and finally something to be proud of as Jim Morocco comes out to see if he can add the extra point.
Extra points were an adventure in pregame practice this morning.
And the kick is good. Clifton Dawson, the freshman out of Scarborough, Ontario, and Birchmont Park High, puts the Crimson on the board. 8:27 to go in the first half. 22-6. Penn leads. 22-7. My bad. On here. My headset keeps cutting out. Every time we go to a break, my headset cuts out. Every time we go to a break, my headset goes funky here. You don't do that. It throws me off.
Penn's got a pretty good crowd over there.
I don't know what it is, but it goes. There's a crackle in it that happens. It feels like it's going under.
Is there a bigger crowd than normal here? Big crowd on the Penn side.
First time on the board for the Harvard Crimson. Here it is again as Clifton Dawson gets a big hole on the left side and literally untouched. 22-7 with 8:27 to go in the first half now, and the Harvard players, as they get lined up to go ahead and take care of this kickoff, have a little life in their step right now.
Yeah, nothing fancy about that. They got a good double team at the point of attack, fullback lead. I'd like to also commend the Shafaro Company. Donnie Shafaro, the CEO of Shafaro Company, donated tickets to all the local high schools around Eastern Massachusetts. 100 tickets here, 100 tickets there, and youth programs, youth football programs, and high school programs all around Eastern Massachusetts. The guest of Harvard and the Shafaro Company today at the game. Donnie Shafaro out of Belmont was a tremendous football player here, captain of Harvard, and giving back to his high school roots by making sure that youth football players in Eastern Massachusetts get a chance to come here and watch Harvard play Penn.
Number 8, Jonathan Robinson, and number 27, Duval Thompson, back to receive the kickoff. They'll drive this one into the end zone. Penn will start from the 20.
Now that just shows you the strategy of what Penn did early part of the game. Harvard, first time they had a chance to kick from that end of the field, and obviously the wind helped, and that ball went right out of the, not out of the end zone, but in the end zone, no return. Penn's 3 kicks, all of which Harvard had trouble with, were sort of not squib kicks, but sort of pitching wedge shots, you know, sort of lofted in, funny bounces, landed the 25, difficult to handle, and they had trouble with all 3 of them, and that helped Penn establish excellent field position.
I was waiting for you to find the actual first good place in the game, to use a golf metaphor. I I knew that would happen eventually, and I'm so glad it came to pitching wedge instead of something else.
Actually, squib shots.
Squib shot pitching wedge. Mike Mitchell, 8 of 12 and 115 yards. He brings him out on the ground. Big gain for the Quakers. Sam Matthews. Ricky Williamson, the strong safety there to make the tackle.
They gave it that reverse look again. You remember earlier they started off the game with a reverse. They came with Phillips on a reverse look that time and just shot Matthews right up the middle, and they have an injury on the field.
Chris Kupchik, the senior left tackle, one of those 5 Quaker blocks of granite, if you will, the seniors who've been together for the whole time.
Yeah, he's a big guy, senior, 6'4", 290 pounds, out of Berlin, New Jersey.
Working, it looks as if they're working on the left leg. And if Kupchik goes down.
You never want to see that in his senior year with a couple of games, this being the next to last game he's going to play. It's just a real discouraging time to get an injury that might, you don't want to prejudge what's going to do, but anytime you see those, you worry about him missing a game or two, and this is not the time you want to miss a game or two.
Penn getting 2 quick strike touchdowns early on to take a 14-0 lead. They scored in the second quarter, and then after a bobbled extra point, able to complete it for the 2-point conversion to take the 22-0 lead. Harvard just coming back and getting the 22-7 edge on this game. We told you earlier in the game that last year when Harvard played at Penn, it was 44-9. It was a crusher for the Quakers. Next week, Penn beat Cornell 31-0. They had their 12th Ivy League championship. They were 9-1 that year. It's a kind of coaching job that Al Bagnoli has done on his 12th season. And he's 9-2 against these Harvard Crimson. We talked about the injury a minute ago. They've still got Kupchik down to the 18-yard line. Let's go ahead and look. Look on the right side of your screen. You see Kupchik is the guy who's on the outside, and he gets rolled over. Right there is where he gets pushed and rolled over. That's where he gets extended backwards, and they're still working on him. So let me tell you something, from a guy who has had the unfortunate opportunity to feel an ACL snap in his knee. I had that happen earlier this year in a freak accident, and here's a guy who's I played athletics my whole life, Bob, and I have it happen in a freak accident a week after skiing in Colorado. But when you hear that and when you feel that, it is the loudest sound you will ever hear. It feels as if your brain explodes when you hear that. I'm not saying that's what's happened to him, but I can see something like that because that always makes me cringe when I see that, because I know the pain that these guys have to go through.
Kupchik has been an outstanding lineman for this team for 2 years, played at Easton High School. He's from South Jersey. He was a teammate of Joe Phillips in high school. And, you know, once again, no matter what the injury is, you hate to see anybody who's a senior at this stage of their college career end up having it going to miss a game and miss the rest of this game. There's none left. Big round of applause.
Also, if you look on this
Penn
play,
fans.
Sam Matthews, the running back, apparently suffered a thigh injury as well. They're working on him. So, well, we've got our attention down here to the football player that's here. Look here. Here's Matthews on the last run, and he takes the shot really right there.
That's Charlie Horse shot. That's what happens. You get caught right in the quad, and you just catch that shoulder pad. You get just in that spot where you might have the thigh pad go down a little bit low, and you get caught, and you pick up Charlie Horse.
Chris Raftery delivered the blow.
He's a hitter.
Yeah, Raftery's one of those guys that you want to be very careful of because he's not afraid to lower the shoulder anytime. He'll go ahead and drive one in again. So if Matthews is out, that's going to turn it over. We'll watch and see what happens when the offense returns. For Kupchik, Eric Curtis, number 78. You see him right there on the right side of your screen, lower right. He's the junior out of Manhattan Beach, California, Miracosta High. He's going to come in now and take Kupchik's place over on the left side of the line. It'll be interesting to see now what, if anything, changes when you have a senior offensive line that's worked together for so long for Penn, and now you've got the different guy moving in. Kupchik is going to be taken off the field on the cart.
They got a pretty good backup running back if Matthews goes down. Jake Persky was an outstanding tailback. He's out of Summers Point, New Jersey, and
he's in pain too. Look at him, boy. He's definitely. They're holding that knee. They're just trying to support it. As far as yardage is concerned, 154 yards on offense for the Penn Quakers. They've got 115 in the air, 39 on the ground. It's 97 for the Harvard Crimson. So let's look here and see how they bring things out.
Matthews
is back in the game. Not going to miss a play. Matt Makovsky, one of the backup receivers, is sitting here in the slot right now. They'll bring it out, reset, second down, make it a long one for the Penn Quakers. Bangs up near the 30-yard line, and Matthews may have been able on the second spin to pick up the first down, although I'm looking where the official is right now. He's going to be short.
He's not going to give him the yard. They really didn't pick up. They probably picked up about the length of a football. Sam Matthews, sort of not a real big guy at 5'9", but one of those guys is built low to the ground. 5'9", 200 pounds, tough to bring down. Got a good stick there by Balistracci, though, and kept him short of the first down. Third and probably the length of a football.
Brad Payne made the stop. We'll bring in some of the short yardage package here. Kevin DeSmet, the fullback, is in. They'll just go with the guys right here. They'll take the dive, and on the second effort, Mike Mitchell will get the first down. He did not have it on that first push. He managed to just get the slide. It was right that time to get the first down.
Well, and all those white-shirted bodies, and that's a big offensive line up in front of him. 285, 290, 285, 265, and he let that get that push in front of him. And then once you see the push develop, just slide right off those guys' backs, slide right down the line of scrimmage, going forward all the time, and that's what he does to pick up the first down. Don't get yourself buried in there short.
Brian Adams, the tight end, number 14, doing a nice job on the seal there to keep everybody down.
It's the old wedge.
From the 31. Quakers will go back to the air, and they'll get close to the 40-yard line. Adams, we just mentioned him. Now they call his number. Does a nice job. He'll pick this one up. Dante Balistracci, the middle linebacker. One of those in there to make the tackle.
Well, when you have an accurate passer such as Mitchell, it's very difficult to defend this kind of pass. It's a little quick turnout by the tight end on the linebacker, and he's a big target at 6'2", 240. Mitchell takes a whack
Watch
here.
Mitchell here. Bang. That's Bobby Everett, the outside linebacker.
He'll get you.
Bobby Everett's your big play guy out of Saline High School in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Second, make it a long two. Mitchell's going to let the run do the job, and it's not going to happen this time from Matthews because Chris Raftery, the senior free safety, who might be the smartest player in that secondary, he wasn't fooled that time, out of Bellevue, Washington.
Yeah, I tell you, the play was made by Monte Zakuma. He was a corner to that side, and he just rifled up right from the perimeter, stuffed that play. Watch Zakuma 25 come in. He's going to come right into your picture, right here, forces the play inside, occupies the blocker, sets it up for the tackle to be made.
3rd and 4. 2 of 6 on third downs for the Penn Quakers with a 22-7 lead. Mitchell looks near side. He's going to float. Receiver and the defensive back got tangled up. That time sitting out there, it was Dan Castles he was trying to get it to. Ben Butler, the left cornerback, was there. Some people screaming for an interference call. Not going to get it on that one. That simply was a couple of guys who got tangled up.
Exactly. No harm, no foul.
Exactly.
I'll tell you, they had the tight end Adams wide open. That was a pre-drawn up play. They were going to the wide out all the way. They didn't have an alternative receiver.
It's one of the great metaphors here, the good non-call.
You got it.
Brian Edwards back to receive the kick. Josh Appel gets it off. It's going to be short. Lands at about the 38-yard line. Everybody's going to let this one roll. Comes to rest at the 27-yard line. That's where the Crimson will pick things up and go back to work. 5 minutes, 9 seconds left to go in the first half, and a 22-7 lead for the Quakers. Bob, when you clicked in at that time, whatever you did, I lost all return in both of my headsets. I could hear nothing. I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear anything. I hear you now, but when you were counting down, you gave me like a 7. I heard a click, click in my left side, which almost sounded like a circuit break. And then I heard nothing, 0. I mean, I had to guess what my time was coming down to the end. I don't know what it is. It's a technical issue, whatever it was, but it only happens when you count me out of the count me into the break. Okay. Yep. Sure do. There it is again. There it is again. There it is again, right there. I couldn't hear you. All of a sudden it clicked and I lost everything in my headset. Now you're back. Back at Harvard Stadium as we get ready for halftime. Also want you to get ready for some really great college hockey coming to CN8 next Friday night. UNH battles Hockey East rival Northeastern. This is a fight between the Cats and the Dogs. The highly ranked UNH Wildcats, high-powered offense. They go to legendary Matthews Arena to try and tame the Huskies right in their dog pound. Get out the biscuits, kids. Here it comes. It's next Friday at 7:30 right here on CN8. And I love those cats and dogs. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get into another type of a dog fight right here. 22-7 with 5 minutes and 9 seconds to go. Harvard needs something good to happen here before they go into halftime. Fitzpatrick, 2 of 6, 35 yards. He's been doing it mostly with his legs and getting it done on the ground right now as they start things out from the 27-yard line. He's going to get a chance. Almost got buried that time, and he finally does. Number 32, Rick Sandoval, is the guy who almost had him. Steve Lotek, the other linebacker, finally got to him.
I tell you, the Penn people told me that Sandoval was a player out of Allison Park, Pennsylvania, 6'1", 240 at Shady Side Academy. Not faked at all, faked out at all by that. It was a bootleg kind of action by Fitzpatrick, and he was right on top of him.
Loss of 3. Second down. Fitzpatrick has carried the ball 11 times for 23 yards. This time he's going to look to swing it out real quick. He was under a lot of pressure that time and got nailed in the backfield. Go ahead and pick this one up and give it to one of the guys who nails in here and comes in real fast to put him down on the ground.
You know, I think he made a very late decision to go to that outlet receiver, the swing receiver Dawson. I think he was trying to wait till somebody cleared downfield, and the pressure got right on top of him, and he had to just swing it almost at the last minute.
Luke Haddon, the linebacker, was right there. Number 34. Make it 3rd and 13. Fitzpatrick will try the ground again. He's not going to get far this time. Calling for some late hits here. Steve Lotek finally is the guy who brought him down at the 30-yard line. You can hear the coaches here in the booth behind us screaming for the late hit call.
Now that's
2 of 7 on 3rd down now for the Harvard Crimson.
After having taken their last possession and scored, Harvard would like to do the same here. That's not a good omen, because when they've 3 and outed, Pennsylvania has come back, exploited that, and scored.
Adam Kingston comes in to punt now. Place kicker drives it to the 30, 25. That's where Penn will pick it up. And they'll just take it out of bounds and get a couple of yards here.
Now that's a good
choice. They bring himself back up. Adam Franks, the sophomore, 45-yard kick and a 3-yard return.
Yeah, the Harvard fans would like to have seen him try to do something with that, but all he was going to do was take a lick and potentially fumble the ball. He was up against the sideline, no way to run, funny kind of punt. Good punt there, but one of the best player for Harvard thus far. Fitzpatrick's played very well, and Dawson. But I'll tell you, Kingston has done a superb job punting it both directions.
Mike Mitchell with 123 yards in the air. Those 3 TDs, making the 22-7 lead. Set it up from the 28-yard line. The Quakers look to pound a few more on here before they go into halftime. The pounding this time is going to come from the Harvard Crimson defense. Matthew McBurney was the first man in, and he buries Mitchell for a big loss.
I think he almost got the ball here. Mitchell was had the arm cocked trying to throw the ball, and McBurney gets in there. Watch him. Tries to grab the football. He's reaching back.
I think he did do it. Actually, he made him bring it back in.
Just tucks it down, but you know, this kid is an outstanding quarterback. He reaches in there, finally brings it down. McBurney, tough inside rusher. His Mitchell's 63.3 career pass accuracy is 4th all-time in the Ivy League.
Ricky Williamson came in to go ahead and finish him off. The strong safety for the Crimson. 2nd and long. Flags are down. Everybody will stop.
Harvard coming a little more pressure. That time they blitzed Balistracci up in the middle. Let's see what the call is.
Dead ball foul. Delay a game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Not everybody watches the 25-second clock, but I guarantee you there's at least one set of striped eyes that are on that clock every single time. Dante Balistracci is a kid, number 48. Watch him. Boston College said he wasn't fast enough to play for them. This time he didn't have to worry about being fast. He just got buried. 3rd penalty, 25 yards now on the penalty calls for the Penn Quakers. They'll come out of the gun this time. Mitchell's got a 2nd and 20. Shovel to Matthews. This one will get yardage. If he could shake, he might have even had a first down, but he gets to the 32-yard line. Finally, Chris Raftery got to him, and Juan O'Queen rolled over him to stop him as he gets back to about the 31-yard line. Look at it again.
Well, this is what good backs do. We talked about early in the game what an outstanding cutback runner he is. Comes off the left side, come back to the right. Now he almost goes down, uses that hand, picks up some additional yardage.
Crimson call a timeout here. They're going to stop the clock with 2:31 to go and get a chance to talk about it with that 22-7 disadvantage that they have to work from. Mitchell's an interesting kid, the quarterback here for the Penn Quakers out of Colonial High in Orlando. He's not a kid that you hear a lot about, but he's setting all kinds of records for Penn. He has done one heck of a job this year. Al Bagnoli is not afraid to turn the offense over him and let this kid go to work.
Well, he's got 6,300 yards coming into today's game passing in his career. Threw 20 touchdown passes last year. Second all-time at Penn in passing yards. Second all-time in passing touchdowns. And again, the thing that amazes me when you talk about a kid like Mitchell, he's got good receivers too, and that's what you need. But coming into today's game, 63.3 career pass accuracy, fourth all-time in the Ivy League. I mean, they've been playing this game for a long time.
He's got four touchdown games, and he could have his fifth by the time it's all done here today. Also now, he's still second on the passing touchdown list at Penn. Now he has 42. Gavin Hoffman leads in that category with 50 overall. 3rd and 7 now from the 31-yard line. Mitchell's going to go back to the air. At least he was thinking about it. And what Harvard was thinking about was screwing him into the turf as Bobby Everett was right there to get the job done. Big rush that time from the Crimson. Boy, they have certainly picked it up the last couple of series.
Well, they blitzed a little bit. They pretty much laid back in the earlier passing series, but the last
second charge timeout of the first half. Second timeout for Harvard.
Ryan Garcia also in up there, the left end, along with Bobby Everett. Couple of sacks.
Yeah, you saw Balstracci blitz earlier in that previous play. That time they came with Bobby Everett. They've obviously decided, and I think it's a correct decision, they can't sit back and rush with 4 and expect to be able to nullify this passing attack from Penn. They got to take their chances. They're down by a bunch of points. You got to put some pressure on, try to force a turnover.
You see in Bobby Everett there, number 43, the kid out of Saline High in Ann Arbor, Michigan. A lot of the power and the speed on this Crimson defense comes from that left side. Begins with Garcia, number 90, on the left end. Everett plays on that side, on the linebacking side, and then behind him is Ben Butler, number 5, the left corner. He's another one of their big play corners. All comes from that left side is where a lot of that juice comes from.
Bobby Everett's averaged over 12 tackles in his last 4 games, and there weren't many that played well against Columbia, but he did. He had 11 tackles in a losing effort.
Josh Appel will kick it to Brian Edwards. Good kick, best one of the day. Hangs this one up, hits around the 40, and it's going to take a Harvard bounce. It's one of the Penn players there at about the 42-yard line. Reminder that CN8's college football coverage continues next Saturday at 4 p.m. as Delaware takes on Atlantic 10 rival Villanova. These are 2 nationally ranked teams. What a history of high drama these guys have whenever they meet. This is always a good game. Next Saturday, 4 o'clock, the Delaware Blue Hens take on the Villanova Wildcats. The only place you can see it is right here on CN8. 36-yard punt is what it'll go down for with no return. Here comes the Crimson now, setting up on offense. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Clifton Dawson to his left. Fitzpatrick. He'll keep and go across the 45-yard line. Luke Hatton, the linebacker, number 34 in there. Part of the tackle. Also underneath the pile, number 86, Ryan Strollendorf, the senior nose guard. They're going to go to work here with 1:47 and the clock moving.
1 timeout.
1 left. Fitzpatrick, gun pump, and gets out of 1 tackle, gets away from a second, a third, a fourth, and Fitzpatrick has the Crimson first down.
Yeah, when you see a kid like Fitzpatrick make this kind of play, you're just amazed at the kind of athlete he is, because there is absolutely no way that he should have made any yardage with this at all. Pump fake, he's caught, should be stuck behind the line of scrimmage, works himself out, a little juke move back there, and ends up picking up first down. Wow, what an individual effort by Ryan Fitzpatrick. 1:32 left, down 22-7, 1 timeout.
And Harvard actually gets a break here because Pat McManus, the left cornerback for the Quakers, is taken off injured. So they get a clock stoppage, a minute to regroup, a minute 32 to go with McManus out. But for number 27 on that left side, Duval Thompson, who's going to come in now and pick up the slack. Fitzpatrick on a first down. Spin, pressure, he's going to have to move. He's got a receiver on the far side of the field, and that's where he completes it. What beautiful moves that time by Fitzpatrick just to get out of it. And Ryan Tyler is the guy who picks it up at the 41-yard line. I think at this point the Penn coaches are the ones screaming behind us, letting him get away. Clock moves, a minute to go. First half, Fitzpatrick with a second down. Looking near side, good coverage. He's going to fire it down and just throw this one away. Good coverage that time. Want to remind you that we'll get all the news. Mick Moninghoff will be coming up at halftime to bring us all the news, some scores, what's cooking around college football today. 3 of 9 now for Fitzpatrick. He's thrown for 40 yards, and they'll come up with a big third down with 51 seconds to go.
Brian Edwards was much too much downfield. As soon as that quarterback's running around like that, Edwards, who's in the end zone, you got to come back and give him a receiver to throw it to. That was a plus 50-yard throw down there.
2 of 7 on third downs for the Crimson. They've got to get to the 35-yard line. He was looking that time for Ryan Tyler, threw well behind him. Tyler hadn't turned. Seth Fisher on the coverage. It'll be fourth down.
Well, they just didn't have anybody to throw it. I'll tell you, you got to give credit to Pennsylvania's defensive secondary because they're forcing Fitzpatrick. You know, if you're Pennsylvania, you just as soon let Fitzpatrick try to beat you on the ground. And so they're doing an outstanding job of covering downfield, forcing him to put the ball under his arm and run the ball. And you know, I just don't think that Harvard's going to win the game with Fitzpatrick running the football.
Kingston the kick. Frank's back. They'll try and drive it into the corner. Hits it about the 12-yard line. It's a very good kick. It's going to go out at the 5. So with 38 seconds to go after a 35-yard kick by Adam Kingston, Quakers will have 38 seconds here. With 22-7 lead. No rush to really do anything. Harvard only has 1 timeout to stop the clock.
You know, in defensive football, you sometimes have to pick your poison. You know, you're going to have to pick what you're going to defend. And in this situation, Ryan Fitzpatrick is a great runner. He can certainly hurt you running the football. But he can hurt you a lot more throwing the football down the field 35, 40 yards. And that's not what Penn's giving them. Penn is doing a great job. And they're going to go to a knee right here and run the clock out.
He's going to bring everything out, take the knee, let the clock run down. See if Harvard deems to stop the clock in a situation like this, and likely not. They'll just let it go down. Again, Mick Moninghoff is coming up at halftime. He'll bring us the halftime entertainment, if you will. And I have the feeling that we're going to have an entertaining second half here because Tim Murphy's going to take this Harvard team back into the locker room and he's going to tell them, you guys got down 14 points awfully fast. You are still in this game. You're 15 down. We have an absolute opportunity to still stay here and to card the upset of the Penn Quakers. That'll do it for the first half here from historic Harvard Stadium. Penn 22, Harvard 7. We're going to come back. Bob Norton and Ed Berliner and the entire crew for the second half. But Mick Moninghoff is coming up here at halftime. Join us as the Ivy League continues right here on CN8.
Thank you. Grab a lunch if they have one. Give me a bit. I don't care anything.
Hot or cold?
Coffee. I'll get out and help you. No, cream. Thank you. Okay.
We are at halftime at Cambridge, Massachusetts in today's Ivy League matchup between the Penn Quakers and the Crimson of Harvard. Welcome to our CN8 studios. I'm Mick Moddinghoff, and this is the CN8 College Football Halftime Report. Well, Penn has already clinched a tie for the Ivy League title, and next week they can cap off an outstanding season at home when they take on the Big Red of Cornell at Franklin Field. Now, Cornell is winless in league play, and they're looking to break a 7-game losing streak today against Columbia. Now, touchdowns have been hard to come by this year for the Big Red. Sophomore Joshua Johnston leads the rushing attack with 252 yards and 5.5 a carry. Plus, he's accounted for 2 rushing touchdowns. The problem is, Cornell has only scored 5 rushing touchdowns going into today's action. Quarterback Mick Rosano leads the team in total offense with 180 yards per contest, and that goes along with his 2 rushing scores this year. As for touchdown passes, well, there's only been 5 of those as well. Anthony Jackson had this one against Colgate, yet the most consistent offensive performer is John Kellner. Now, even a partially torn knee ligament hasn't slowed him down. He has 32 receptions for 382 yards and an average of 11.9 per reception. It's usually against double coverage, too. Now, Kellner has delivered, but he just hasn't had much help. On the defensive side of the football, just 5 interceptions this year and only 10 quarterback sacks. And outside of a Sean Nasoy fumble recovery for a touchdown, there hasn't been much to shout about. The defense allows 26 points a game, and that's too much when you only score about 13 each time out. Again, that's Cornell next week at Penn. Well, next week for Harvard, it's the game as the Crimson travel to New Haven to take on the Bulldogs of Yale. Now, this one will only have pride on the line as both teams started the day with 2 losses. You can expect an offensive show, especially since Yale was tagged last week by Brown 55-44. Robert Carr leads the running attack with 90 yards per game, and he has scored 10 times this season. Quarterback Alvin Cowan has over 2,300 yards passing and 17 touchdowns. Wide receivers Ralph Plum and Ron Benigno each has 7 touchdown receptions, and they've combined for 69 total catches. But without question, the go-to man is tight end Nate Laurie. With mammoth size and good speed, he is a true pro prospect.
He's just really matured physically. He's really matured mentally. He wants the ball. He makes plays. And he's a dominating blocker in the run game. There aren't many defensive ends in our league that can contend with a kid that size. I mean, he's just huge. He's like contending with an offensive lineman. So it's a kid that people really have trouble with.
Now, Yale leads the series against Harvard, 64 wins against 47 losses and 8 ties. Last season, Ryan Fitzpatrick, though, ran the football 18 times for 72 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he also passed for another as Harvard won the game by a score of 20-13. However, Yale's Robert Carr and Ron Benigno, who both scored touchdowns, are back. Again, that's Harvard at Yale next week. Well, 5 weeks ago, Harvard was at the top of the Ivy League standings, and they sported a perfect record. Now that's a distant memory. An injury to quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick may have had an adverse effect on the Crimson season, but it definitely changed the way that Fitzpatrick looks at the game. Before junior quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick broke his right hand, he was ranked first in all of 1AA in total offense and #1 in the nation in passing efficiency. Then during the Cornell game, that all changed.
I wasn't sure how exactly it happened on the play. I don't know if I banged it on the turf, if I took a helmet to the hand. Kind of went over to the trainer and said, "This is bothering me a little bit. What's the deal?" And they said, "I don't know. It kind of looks like it's jammed." So I grabbed the ball, threw a little bit, and it felt okay, a little uncomfortable still, and went back out for another series. I think it was 1 or 2 series, and then after taking one of the snaps, I couldn't grab the ball anymore. So I came out after a first down and just said, "Coach, I can't grab the ball anymore. I got to come out." So.
At that point, head coach Tim Murphy knew he had lost more than just an exceptional quarterback. He had lost an inspirational leader.
Well, Ryan Fitzpatrick is really the complete package as a quarterback. Like all outstanding quarterbacks, he's got a great arm, he's very mobile, but the thing that really sets him apart is he's probably the toughest kid I've ever coached at that position. And, that may be an attribute that you assume every good college football player is going to have, and maybe they do, but at the quarterback position, it's really important. He's a great leader, and he has the ability to inspire our football team without really saying a word, and that's something that's difficult to quantify.
During his rehabilitation, Fitzpatrick continued to work out with his teammates, and he realized that his relationship with the other players was beginning to change.
kind of felt like a coach out there. Pulling a lot of the young guys aside on the little things when they're running routes or not doing the little things correctly, and I'm trying to be the biggest help as possible out there, helping the quarterbacks, the young quarterbacks, with their reads and noticing coverages and things like that. But I think my role has shifted a little bit because a lot of the time I'm worried about the first offense and how we're playing and how I'm doing, how the receivers are running their routes, whereas now it's more the offense as a whole.
And by working with the younger players, Ryan says he's now aware that he's viewed in a different light.
I think so, a little bit. In terms of looking at me, they look at me as a guy who's been around for a few years and knows the offense, and obviously they're going to listen to me. So in that sense, I think because I'm coaching a lot more, they're doing a lot more listening from me, and perhaps are looking at me a little different because of it.
And who knew that the hand injury may lead Ryan Fitzpatrick down a new career path?
I would love to be a coach. Obviously, it's not the best profession if you like to make money, but it's something I'd love to do down the line. Maybe a high school coach after I retire, or coach my kids. Definitely.
And Fitzpatrick still has another season to share his talents with his teammates. In just a moment, I'll tell you about next week's game here on CN8 as we continue with Penn, Harvard, and the CN8 College Football Halftime Report. Once again, we're at halftime of today's Ivy League match. Once again, we're at halftime of today's Ivy League matchup between Penn and Harvard on CN8. Welcome back to the CN8 College Football Halftime Report. Next week, it's our last regular season game on CN8, and what a way to close out the year with a pair of A-10 rivals going head-to-head as the Delaware Blue Hens take on the Villanova Wildcats, and a ticket to the postseason could be on the line. Delaware is hosting UMass today, sitting just one game behind the Minutemen. The field general, Andy Hall. The senior quarterback is fourth in the A-10 in total offense, and he's led Delaware to become the #1 scoring offense in the league at 33.5 points a game. Jermaine Bennett is second in the Atlantic 10 in rushing with 941 yards, and he has 10 touchdowns. That ranks him 5th in the conference. Brian Ingram is the Hens' top receiver. He's only appeared in 7 games, though, but he does have 35 receptions for 486 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Justin Long, who has pulled in 24 balls this year, is just one of 7 receivers with 10 or more catches. Defensively, Mike Adams leads Delaware with 3 interceptions. It's a defense that ranks second behind Villanova, allowing just 16.2 points a game. Now, the Blue Hens will be looking to avenge last season's loss to the Wildcats when Brett Gordon threw for a career-high 460 yards in a 38-34 victory. Nova won the game with just 15 seconds left to play. That's when Gordon found Brian White from 7 yards out for the victory. It's worth noting that 5 of the last 6 meetings had been decided by 10 points or less. This season, Villanova has used 2 quarterbacks, with Joe Casamento getting the bulk of the work. Now, Casamento is 3rd in the A-10 in passing with over 1,700 yards and 14 touchdowns. And the top receiver, J.J. Outlaw. He's the top target with 47 receptions for 663 yards and 2 scores. That makes Outlaw number 2 in the conference at his position. But the Cats have 2 quality backs in Mo Gibson, averaging 6.4 a carry. He also has 5 touchdowns and 623 yards. And Terry Butler has also gained 551 yards and scored 4 times. It's that kind of balance that's powered Villanova to a 7-2 record going into today's game at Maine. Now, on defense, Nova is number 1 in the league in points allowed and 2nd in total defense. Still, when these teams get together, defense is kind of redefined, as the losing team has scored 31 or more points in 4 of the last 5 meetings. Again, that's Delaware at Villanova next Saturday at 4 right here on CN8. Well, before we get you back to Harvard, this reminder, tonight at 7, you'll see boxing here on CN8 as Michael Stewart takes on Ivan Robinson. Again, that comes your way at 7 o'clock. Well, that's the CN8 College Football Halftime Report for this week. I'm Mick Moddinghoff. Enjoy the second half of Penn and Harvard.
She's making dinner. I got you.
Take care.
All right, bud. See you downstairs. Good luck. See, do we have play-by-play yet? Do we have the halftime?
Where's the game break then?
Yeah, where's the game break? We don't have the halftime game break yet.
They give us a
Guys, they're official stats that come to us. They always have the play-by-play halftime stats. They tell us the touchdowns and the plays. We don't have any of that sitting up here yet. Let's get that quickly. Quickly. We don't have it. No.
I got you.
Oh, no, I heard you. Yeah, but we just don't have our stats.
I can do that. I remember.
We got 2nd touchdown. Gotcha. Okay, here it is. Okay. Highlight. I thought you said highlight. Bob, I'm just making sure. You said 2nd Penn touchdown, 3rd Penn touchdown, and the Harvard touchdown, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and then stats. Okay.
2nd, 3rd.
I'll bring us back, and I'll just give it to you, and I'll lead you.
That's fine.
I'll lead you into it. Thank you. Oh, I'm so cold. I'm such a wuss. I'm very happy to be that, thank you. Very happy to be a wuss, thank you. Readying for the second half here at Harvard Stadium between the University of Penn and Harvard, with the Quakers leading 22-7. Ed Berliner, Bob Norton, and the whole crew back here at Harvard Stadium. Let's go ahead and find out what happened here early in the game. And it happened very early and very quickly for the Penn Quakers, because in the first 5 minutes, 2 touchdowns. Here's the second one that they had.
Well, Brian Adams got the first on an 11-yard pass from Mike Mitchell, but Dan Castle, 44-yard pass from Mike Mitchell. Harvard had it defended. They had 2 bodies there, but Castle's made the catch, makes the play.
Second quarter then. Penn puts another one on the board to take a 22-7 lead.
Counter trap pass, fullback out of the backfield. No one covers him. Kevin DeSmet makes the reception. Mike Mitchell's pass. Matt Boyer, 2-yard reception for the 2-point play on a botched snap. And then Clifton Dawson, 2-yard run at 8:27 of the second period. Jim Morocco, the kick, and that made the score where we are now, 22-7 in favor of Penn. I tell you, they're having a lot of trouble running the football. Is Harvard over the course of the game. They're not able to develop any consistency
in terms of offense running against Penn, except for one series, the touchdown series.
Funny, as we talked about, too, before the game, we thought that the weather here would definitely make this more of a ground game. And if you look, we have 131 yards for Penn, 40 for Harvard through the air. That's where a lot of the yardage is coming from right now, certainly for Penn. Harvard is trying to get it done on the ground simply because the defense that Penn has put up against them has been awfully tough today. 160 total yards for Penn. And there's some of the madmen, some of the mad women. It's Ivy League football. That's the way it is right here at Harvard Stadium. They're jacked up, and so are we, because here comes the second half. Penn leads 22-7. Harvard's going to get a chance to come back. They're still in this game as we return to Harvard Stadium here on CN8. Cool. The mad men and the mad women.
Want that?
No, it's okay. I got one. Thank you. I have one of my own. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, Bob, just to let you know, when the game is over, could you send someone up to take... I won't be able to walk down. I can't feel my feet. The toes. He'd
like to be carried down.
I would like to be carried down. I am unable to walk.
Akin to
okay.
Akin to some sort of Egyptian prince. What we ought to do really is take him over to the back of the stadium, lift him up, and dump him right over the wall.
That's really a terrible thing to ask somebody. How long is it? I mean, what are you talking about? 100-year anniversary. Gotcha. Okay.
No, if we can avoid it, but I mean, okay.
And now here's the human popsicle.
Get you something in the background. There we go.
Okay.
Hey, Bob. Why don't I throw it to the human popsicle?
40 years ago I played. 40 years ago is when I played here. I just was thinking about that. 1963. Yeah. 73, 83, 93, 03.
Penn's choice in the second half, and they will receive.
Good job first half, man. Keep it up.
Second half, Penn will receive the ball at the open end of the stadium.
Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
While it may look like a beautiful day for sunning yourself here at Harvard Stadium, it is anything but as we ready for the second half. Now let's go downfield to our third part of the broadcast team, today dubbed the human popsicle for standing outside all day long, Phil Burton.
That's right, Ed, because I am absolutely freezing down here, but that's all right. After 100 years, this stadium has seen a lot of action. It's been used for rugby, field hockey, lacrosse, even hockey and polo. The Patriots played their first exhibition game here in 1960, and football legends such as Jim Thorpe have graced their presence on this gridiron. A lot of renovations. It used to have steel bleachers and seat 57,000. Now it holds over 30,000, and fans sit on those concrete, which has got to be brutal on the back, Ed. Back to you.
Indeed it is. This is a stadium that hasn't changed much in its 100 years. Phil is finding out that the wind swirls. Bob knows what it's all like. 40 years ago you played at the stadium, right?
Yeah, 1963, played for Rutgers against Harvard, lost. But, you know, one of the things that I was impressed with coming in here, because I played in Palmer Stadium, the old Palmer Stadium in Princeton, which was very similar to this. When you're on the field, everybody looks so much higher up from, because there's no stands down at ground level. It all goes up, and I remember everybody looking as if they were way, way above the game, and you were down in some sort of bowl.
Adam Kingston puts foot to the football, and we're underway in the second half. Jonathan Robinson for the Penn Quakers starts it around his 10-yard line. He's got some room, and he's got a couple of blockers, but he finally runs out of room, and there's a flag on the play as well.
I think it's going to be hit from behind. Pennsylvania was trying very hard to avoid a hit from behind, but I think that Nick Okoro, on the kickoff return team, ends up going to get a penalty.
Harvard would enjoy it immensely.
Well, he put his hands
into a hole.
He put his hands up in the air, trying to show the officials that he didn't bump from behind. But It was one of those kind of plays that it wasn't much, but it was enough to get the call.
Illegal block in the back. On the return, penalized from the spot of the foul. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
So after the nice return, it's going to drive Penn back. They'll start just on that side of the 10-yard line. Mike Mitchell, 131 yards in the first half with those 3 touchdowns. He'll set him down. It's been the Mitchell-Matthews show all day, as it has been for Penn most of the season. Let's see if they go right back to work. Mitchell's going to go to the air. Airs one out near the 30-yard line and had absolutely plenty of room to finish this one off because Joe Phillips was right there. He was alone. Gary Sunker, the right cornerback, finally caught up to him. Beautifully executed play. Drives him out past the 30-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you, he does a great job, does Phillips, creating space. There's a whole lot of room between him and Zonkor on that pass out. Superb route run by Phillips there on the sideline. Deep sideline pattern.
From the 33, Quakers, one time, one shot, they're in business. Mitchell again at midfield, caught. Dan Castles. Ben Butler is there, and Penn is taking up big chunks of yardage. 2 plays.
Mitchell threw that ball beautifully. They clearly have tried to come out here and going to hit the wide receivers. This time it's a post pattern on Butler right over the head of the linebacker. Just a superb throw. Wasn't a linebacker, it was safety inside.
From the 46-yard line. Twice he'll pass, 3rd time. He's belted this time as he delivers the football. The Crimson defense finally catches up Ricky Williamson. The junior strong safety was the first one in.
Well, last time they threw the ball just over the strong safety's head, Williamson, and he threw a beautiful ball. This time they come with pressure. Williamson on the strong safety blitz, and he's the one that gets a piece of the quarterback.
Now look, and if you look what happened, he was shaking his hand because he made contact with a helmet in there, and he's shaking his right hand off because it was right in the face mask of one of the Harvard defenders who came right up into him. So we'll see how that affects him now.
They'll give it to the tailback, give his hand a play to rest.
It's exactly what they did. They're going to put Matthews to work, and Matthews has got plenty of room. 30, 25, inside the 20. Bobby Everett finally catches him. So for Penn, it turns out to be fairly good that time. That maybe the quarterback says, give my hand a break.
Well, we had a chance to do the Princeton-Harvard game, and this is the kind of play that just killed the Princeton defense.
And Matthews is hobbling off.
But he does a great job of cutback. And the backside of the Harvard defense has struggled with this play all year long, and they struggle with it against Princeton, and they struggle with it against Matthews, who's a heck of a back. Cutback.
Mitchell's now just going to have one back. They'll go right back to the air. He's decked 5-yard line, caught inside the 5.
Castles runs a great route here, and this is a beautifully thrown ball by Mitchell. Mitchell is going down, rolls out to the right. Haven't seen him throw the ball on the run very much this year, this game.
Gabe Marabella.
Yes, sprint out right into the corner of the end zone. Well thrown ball. Marabella makes the catch.
Gabe Marabella comes in inside the 5. They are still without Sam Matthews, who hobbled off a play earlier. Michael Raschuti, number 20, the junior, is in the backfield now, along with Kevin DeSmet. They'll give it to the second man through. Quakers on the first drive. Touchdown. Michael Raschuti, the junior out of Downington, PA, and Downington High, comes in with Matthews out and puts the Quakers right back up. By this time, a score of 28-7.
Well, boy, I tell you, any thought that Harvard had of coming back and establishing momentum here in this second half sort of been stifled early as Penn took that ball from deep in their own territory, rolled it all the way up the field, primarily on the arm of Mitchell.
For the extra point, and Penn starts the second half exactly as they started the game. They take the ball downfield in efficient fashion with big chunks of yardage. Ground level, look at the score.
Just ISO inside. Running back just sort of falling behind a lead blocker to get himself into the end zone. Nice job by Raschuti. Don't do anything fancy there, but the difference here was they went a pretty good distance to score this touchdown. The first two they took advantage of great field position, one on the 35, the other one on the inside the 50, when Harvard just couldn't make a first down early in the game, getting out of the hole by Penn taking the wind and kicking off. This one, they came length of the field, excellent drive, and what happened in that series was the cornerbacks for Harvard just couldn't handle wide receivers. They went left, they went right, they just threw the ball effectively, and they had the big run by the tailback, and that's the story. This is a good football team. No accident that they're where they are.
An impressive drive indeed for the Quakers, who started the game with a 5-play, 32-yard drive. Took 1 minute and 2 seconds to score their first touchdown. This time, you saw the number, 6 plays, 91 yards, and not much more. 1 minute 16 this one took to score.
Well, you make a statement when you take the second half, the first series of the second half, and you go 90 yards and score. So whatever pep talk Harvard had during the halftime
has just gone for naught.
A 90-yard drive sort of takes the wind out of your sails.
Corey Waller and Chris Raftery back to receive the kick. Harvard will get the ball for the first time now. Sun has shaded the closed end of the field. To the 20, the 25. Raftery falls forward near the 30 on a 15-yard return. So Harvard will go to work. Ryan Fitzpatrick will come back out. The junior out of Highland High School in Gilbert, Arizona.
No secret to what you have to do here. This is going to be, became in the second quarter, became the Ryan Fitzpatrick show. He's got to throw it in, run it.
Fitzpatrick on a huge hole up the middle for Clifton Dawson, who busted and stays on his feet to the 46-yard line. Brian Arguello, the junior free safety, number 5, finally there to reach him. That might have been, Bob, the biggest single hole that we've seen the Crimson offensive line open all day. That was one you drive a semi through.
Well, they haven't run that play very much. That's a quick ISO up the middle, and it's a play that I thought in the first series they would run more, but they haven't done it much.
They go back to the air on first down, and this one will go incomplete.
Hindsight is 20/20, but I thought in the first 2 series when they had the ball that their strength today in today's game is their tailback, the quarterback, and their offensive line. That's where their strength is. I thought that they would really try to establish Dawson inside a little bit to try to eke out some first down yardage. And they didn't do it, and they 3 and out the first 2 possessions, and the Penn scored right away, and that's a huge part of this football game.
Second down from the 46. The fake on the inside handoff to midfield, Fitzpatrick. A Harvard defense spending time and watching. Hopefully they'll get to spend a lot of time watching. They spent a lot of tough time on the field this afternoon, and hoping the offense holds the football for a while, because especially in that first quarter, the offense didn't do much at all and really put these guys to work. Third downs, 3 of 9 for the Crimson coming here from midfield as we're in the early stages of the third quarter. Close snap. There's going to be a procedure, exactly. Laundry on the field.
My guess that's a quarterback on the snap count, because everybody hiccuped in the offensive line. They all sort of moved a little bit, and
dead ball foul. Full start prior to the snap. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
When one lineman moves, it's a lineman's fault. When all the linemen move, it's the quarterback's call. This Harvard defense, you're talking about the defense, but they struggled against Princeton, against the run. They struggled against Dartmouth against the pass. And they're struggling today. I mean, they just have struggled the last 3 or 4 weeks, and that really is part of the reason that Harvard's been in a funk.
From the 45, make it 3rd and 11. The roll near side. He's not going to find anybody because he will be chased out of bounds. Steve Lotak, the senior linebacker out of Bergen Catholic High in Allendale, New Jersey, number 58, chases him out of bounds in an ineffective Crimson offense again in the second half.
I must correct you. As a Bergen Catholic guy, I got to tell you, Bergen Catholic was at Oradell.
Well, he's from Allendale.
He's from Allendale.
Yes, Bergen Catholic, and he's
corner
from Allendale.
Corner of Forest and Oradell Avenue.
Thank you, sir. You can correct any time on those little things. It's always welcome. Hunt goes out of bounds, and actually a nice catch made by one of the Crimson players at the 30. 27 yards on the kick. That's going to set Penn up.
Well, this is just money in the bank for them. They take the ball over at the 35-yard line, and I would suspect that unless something radically different occurs from what we saw at the beginning of this second half, they're going right back to work on the corners again. Harvard came with pressure toward the latter part of that first half, in the second quarter, they came with Balistracci on the blitz. They had Raftery on the blitz. They came with some pressure inside and got to the quarterback a little bit, but they weren't able to get to him in the last series.
Jonathan Robinson comes in as one of the receivers now on the far side. He's basically the number 2 behind Joe Phillips. We'll see if that means anything at all as Mike Mitchell brings him out. Mitchell is going to look near side. He was looking for Castles, but Castles never turned around, and it goes incomplete. Ben Butler and Ricky Williamson were there. Castles still had his back turned to Mitchell when the ball was delivered, so they'll come up second down.
Made a little change up there. They gave Butler some help out in the perimeter. They had this Butler short and the safety, strong safety long, so they had 2 guys on that side. What I would suspect that they'd look to do now, if they continue to throw the football, and Harvard gives them that look trying to help the corners out, watch the tight end.
Second down, Penn, having scored on the first possession here of the second half. See if they can repeat their first half performance. They'll stay to the ground, and they're not going to get much at all. Dante Balistracci was one right there in the middle, along with about 5 or 6 of his friends.
Balistracci there was going for the football, trying to pull that football loose, see if they can make something happen on the inside there. They need a turnover badly to get back in this game as the 11:44 remaining in the third quarter.
Jake Persky, the senior running back, is in because Sam Matthews had hobbled out after the last series, and we still do not see Matthews on the field. Persky now is in the slot as we'll go to 3rd and 9. Mitchell, quick pop. Persky past the 35-yard line. He'll be shy of the first down at the 37. Ben Butler and Balistracci are there.
Persky's a good football player at Mainland High School. He's from Summers Point, New Jersey, down on the Jersey Shore. And he has had a heck of a year, good solid year for them last year. And it's a 405-yard rusher coming into this season. And he's a good pass receiver, and that's what happens when you double, when you're giving help to the wide receivers. The tight end back out of the backfield become favorite targets.
News for the Crimson then. They're able to stop, put the punting team on the field. Good rush that time, and may have gotten a piece of it as it went off the left side of Appel's foot. For Harvard that time, it was number 22, Mike Finch, the sophomore DB, in on special teams. Might have just gotten a slight piece of it, might have just put on some pressure, but off the left side of the foot for Appel, and it's a break for Harvard as they'll take it inside the 50.
Boy, scary play there. Brian Edwards came up and just tried to pick that ball up quickly off the ground and see if he could make something happen. Picked up some additional yardage. We can hear the Harvard coaches up here. They were just panicked. They just could have dropped the ball.
So Fitzpatrick comes in now. Harvard gets a break from the 47-yard line of Penn. Down 29-7, second half. Inside handoff. Dawson inside the 45. A reminder that coming up next is the Comcast Varsity Sports Zone. It's that time of year. You get all these teams battling for the playoffs. Coaches, players, fans get pumped up because it doesn't get much better than this. Here's playoff time. You want some of the region's best hard-hitting high school football action? All you have to do is keep it tuned to CN8. We invite you to get in the zone every single week.
But they have 2 tremendous linebackers inside there with Lotak and Sandoval. Those kids take on the play straight ahead, and they run real well.
Dawson is 15th carry of the day, and this time he's going to be met by a number of Penn Quakers on defense. Robert Fallon is there. Rick Sandoval is there, the linebacker, the left defensive end. Been calling their names an awful lot today. Look at the pop still going on here in the third quarter.
Sandoval makes just a tremendous play. Slides down the line of scrimmage with the blocker. He fights off the tackle, gets rid of the blocker, and makes the tackle. That's just great linebacker play.
Harvard 3 of 10 on their third downs today. Fitzpatrick, first down, Harvard. So the Crimson finally managing to put the move on the football here a little bit. They'll go to the 34-yard line. Ball just across the 35-yard line.
What's impressive about Sandoval and Lotak is that they stay in all situations. They may sub guys go to nickel and dime, but they don't take those guys out.
Fitzpatrick and Dawson backs his way in, and that's all he's going to get is maybe a yard or 2 if he's lucky. Ricky Sandoval, another one in there. Also Seth Fisher, the junior strong safety. Sandoval's an impressive kid at 6'1", 240. When you see a kid play like that, is that impressive, that intelligent, and that physical? He's getting an awful lot out of that 6'1" body.
Well, the thing that both those kids can do is they both can run. I mean, when you've got linebackers inside like that can run like they can, you're going to solve a lot of your problems.
Fitzpatrick, second down. Plenty of time. First down on the money for the Crimson. Rudy Brown, the right cornerback, is there as Brian Edwards takes the knee. The fast and tough go-to guy, the junior receiver, gets the Crimson a first down, Bob.
Well, you got to give Edwards some room because we talked about him being a 400-meter record holder in high school, and he can drive you off and then come back. I don't think that Harvard's done very much of that, driving the defender off and coming back to catch the football. That was very effectively run play. Didn't have to need a lot of time to do it. They have a substitution problem here. They may have to call a timeout.
They got a real problem.
With them come a little bit earlier with a double blitz with Balistracci and Everett. That's Balistracci right down the right side. No time to find anybody there.
Injured player down on the field, the goal line.
I wouldn't be surprised right now, once everything's settled up again, to see them just try to run the ball here, get themselves upfield to give themselves a little room if they don't make a first down to kick the ball. 2nd and 15. If they can chop off 3 or 4 yards on one and 3 or 4 yards on the other and get themselves a little bit of distance so that they can punt the ball safely.
Brendan McCafferty is the injured player, the senior left tackle out of Belmont Hill High. He hails from Lexington, Mass. And they too are, it looks as if they are looking again at a knee, and again that's a right knee that they're checking out with him. Well, now let me pose this to you here, Coach, seeing as you made a correct call the last time. Yeah. All right, I'll give you this one.
No.
Okay. I'm not even going to ask because you know where I was going, didn't you?
Yeah, you got to take another safety.
Why not?
No, not here because you got enough room to kick the ball
wait a minute.
safely.
Okay, but I'm just let me just again see you got ahead of the game. I'm going to suppose here.
Okay.
You're second down at the 6-yard line.
Right.
If you get driven back again, if something happens and you find yourself inside the 5-yard line at the 2 or the 3 again with a 4th down, do you simply just take another safety and free kick?
Possibly. If I can't take normal punt formation with normal depth, I might consider taking another safety. But if I can take normal, that's why I think it's important for them to be able to make some yardage here. If I can take normal punt formation to be able to go to my normal blocking patterns and not squeeze the punter.
Right.
In other words, not reduce
not
the
squeeze
distance
him down with the distance he has.
The distance between the center and the punter. If I can do that, then I'm going to punt regularly. If I'm squeezing the punter again, I might think of it. Harvard's defensive football team has played on the field, as you pointed out, an awful lot over the course of today's game, and that you just run out of gas after a while. Brendan McCafferty, another senior. You know, McCafferty played for one of the top coaches around here in prep school football. You mentioned he played at Belmont Hill, played for Kevin Fleming.
I want to remind you before we leave here, and we see that McCafferty's up, that boxing returns to Philadelphia tonight. Philadelphia's own Ivan Robinson takes on the USBA junior welterweight champion Michael Stewart in a 12-rounder. Also on the card is Anthony the Messenger Thompson. He's going to look to extend his unbeaten streak to 14 victories. You'll see all the action tonight. It's at 7 o'clock, and it's only right here on CN8.
Philadelphia fighter. That's a term. That's an expression.
Philadelphia fighter.
First time I heard that was when I saw when I was a kid, watched Tony DeMarco beat Virgil Akins out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for the welterweight championship.
Very nicely done. Here comes Mike Mitchell now. He's 14 of 23, 205 yards. He's got a 2nd down and about 16. Balistracci was coming again from the end zone. He deals towards the 15 and the 20, complete. And the Quakers are close to a first down. This time they go to one of the guys who's got a little money on him by the time everything is done. Gabe Marabella, number 10, comes up big.
Well, that gets out of this hole. That solves the problem of whether you take a safety or not. Make a little yardage, create a little space, get upfield. Just want to give yourself some room here to be able to get out from under the shadow of your own goalpost. 3:08 remaining. They're going to measure to see if it's first down. They had about 15 yards to go.
Mitchell now 15 of 24 on the day.
I think they got it.
It's a first down. And just like that, after we're supposing all of the negatives, Al Bagnoli's crew comes up with one of the positives, and they're right back in motion here with about 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
said Virgil Akins. It was Johnny Saxon. I must correct myself. Johnny Saxon.
So we'll set up here with a first down now from the 21-yard line. Mitchell's got plenty of time, delivers it right across the field at the 30-yard line. Joe Phillips is there, and Chris Raftery is right draped on him as they're close to another first down.
Well, they just keep catching the ball. They just keep pitching and catching. Square in. Phillips, the wide receiver out of Medford Lakes, New Jersey, had a big day last week against Princeton. Had 9 receptions. Came in at today's game with 1,089 reception yards, 4th all-time, 83 career receptions, 8th all-time, entering the game, and he's had a bunch today.
Dartmouth and Brown tied at 14 in the 4th as we look at some of the other Ivy League scores. They're going to keep it back on the ground. Lose a yard or 2.
Balstracci with the hit there, but he's laid it out there today, hasn't he? He's been a factor all game long and has been huge in the middle for Harvard, both in the blitz and against the run.
Princeton leading Yale 17-3 at the half, and Columbia's on top of Cornell 27 in the 3rd quarter. As we come back here, inside of 2 minutes to go.
What a huge win last week by Phil Estes' Brown team against Yale. That upset the apple cart.
2nd and 11. Mitchell going long, and he's got a man open, but overthrew him, and that would have been 6. Joe Phillips had a step on Chris Raftery, and had he put it on him in stride, he might have been able to go the distance.
Well, I was watching Mitchell before the game throw the football just in warm-up session, but he's got a very smooth release. He doesn't look like he's throwing the ball with a lot of action, but the ball just jumps out of his hands, and that ball was thrown right on the line, about 45 yards, with a lot of mustard on it.
Penn's 50-50 on their 3rd downs. They're 4 of 8 as they come up here from the 30 with a 3rd down. Here's one that'll tell you right now. Michigan State ranked 22nd in the country. It's losing to Wisconsin 49-14.
That's been a crazy league this year, though.
It always is.
Yeah, well, particularly this year.
Penn is going to take a timeout now. They're going to think about it.
Dartmouth Brown tied at 14-14. Talked about nice jobs. Dartmouth's Coach Lyons has done very well last. Won a bunch in a row and doing very well. 17-17, New Hampshire, William Mary.
A little bit about Al Bagnoli and the job that he's done here. He's 9-2 against Harvard, coming into his 12th season. Now, if he gets the victory here today, we mentioned this earlier in the game, he ties Carm Koza of Yale for the most outright Ivy championships. That would be 6. All 5 of the Quakers' previous Ivy championships under Bagnoli were outright wins, so he gets 6. And it's unfortunate that a job like a guy that Bagnoli's doing with his staff gets lost a lot in the larger scale of things with Division 1A football and some of the national championship races, because this team right here and the way this defense plays, I think quite frankly, and I've seen a lot of Division 1 teams play, they can certainly hang with a lot of those teams up there. They're smaller in a lot of areas. They're not as big, but they certainly could hang in a lot of areas when it comes down to skill level.
Well, he's been a great coach every place he's been. He was from 82 to 90, from 82 to 91. He's at Union, did a great job there. Graduate of Central Connecticut, class of 1975.
It'll be 3rd and 11. Mitchell, Penn having rolled up 270 yards offense to this point. They'll need 11 more to see if they can get the first down. He has time and deals. The receiver fell down at the 35-yard line. Tried to get the football to Brian Adams, the tight end. He fell down. So we'll switch places and come around and do it again.
He didn't have anything on the play side. He did a pump fake to the play side. I don't know whether that was a preconceived play or not, but he came back looking like he was trying to get it to the tight end. Tight end fell down, didn't have an outlet.
Josh Appel gets the kick off at about the 37-yard line. Brian Edwards has got room. 40, 30. He's got the punter to beat, and he does it. Josh Appel, the safety man, saves 6. And finally, Brian Edwards lights up the special teams. There's a flag on the play back here at the 40-yard line. While we wait for that, let's head for the field, and Phil Burton's got an update. Phil?
All right, thanks a lot, Ed. Fitzpatrick has injured his knee. He was jogging gingerly along the sidelines before he went into the locker room. His return is uncertain. Ed, back to you.
All right, Phil, thanks a lot. That's bad news. Here's more bad news. After a 32-yard punt and that great return, it's all going to come back here, and Harvard's going to find themselves back around the 30.
Now, Josh Appel is a rarity today in college athletics. You know why?
A punter who makes a tackle?
No, he's an athlete. He's a two-sport athlete. He's a pitcher on the Penn baseball team as well as being a punter on the football team. You talk about differences between 25 years ago and today. Not many of those
10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Fitzpatrick, whom we had just heard was injured,
back out there,
is in. Figure this one out. 6 penalties for 46 yards now for Harvard, and I guess they feel that, injured or not, their best chance to try and pull this game out is going to lie in the arm of the junior. He airs it out right away at the 40, and he had for just a moment Brian Edwards in stride, underthrew him. Rudy Brown was there. Edwards comes up hurt. He's holding his right quad as he goes down. And boy, I'll tell you, had he been able to deliver that a little bit farther, there would have been 6.
Yeah, he's got Rudy Brown beaten, but Rudy Brown's able to get that right arm in, just a sort of a punching action coming out as the ball came down.
And it was underthrown.
And it was underthrown, the only way he got a piece of it.
6 of 15 for 75 yards is Fitzpatrick. Minute 15, second down. He'll come again to the near side. The coaches are not exceptionally happy with the spot right now, I think you could say, if you heard a few of them back in here.
Adam Gordon ran a turnaround on the left side, just ran down the field and had to come back to get the ball. And when he received the ball, I think he got a pretty accurate spot from where the ball was caught.
Adam Gordon will come up shy on the tackle by Rudy Brown. And it's a good thing that this is a family show with noise-canceling microphones. I fear perhaps what the coaches are saying may get an X rating. It is an open press box. 3rd and short. Dive for Fitzpatrick. Now he'll have the first down. And that may very well be the last play of the 3rd quarter. And we'll see. Clock is stopped. I correct myself as they come up and they bring it up for the first down. Exactly. So they'll bring it up now for what will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. I was just prescient for a moment, that's all. Fitzpatrick now on first down. Long ball overthrown over the head of Matt Freto rather, the tight end. Correct myself on Fratto. Thank you. I was correct.
Fratto's from right down the road. He played at Waltham High School in Waltham, Mass. And that's the first time that they've tried to go to him. He lined up at the tight end position on the right side, just sort of slipped down the middle, and he was open. But it's a difficult. You're trying to throw a soft ball in there to hit Fratto, and the ball just took off on Fitzpatrick in the wind.
15 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. Second down. Rifle shot in stride. Edwards at the 35, down to the 30, and they finally bring him down. Once again, Rudy Brown. This time Seth Fisher, the strong safety, were there, and a bullet from Fitzpatrick.
Well,
They'll move the sticks.
One thing we've seen today is that as much trouble as Harvard's had covering Penn's receivers, Penn has had covering Edwards. He's been open all day.
Inside, the handoff, plenty of room. Clifton Dawson inside the 10 to the 7-yard line, and that's where we'll change sides. And Harvard will come back with a chance to score a touchdown and get right back into the game. Deval Thompson on the tackle, the left corner for the Penn Quakers. 4th quarter, and Harvard knocking on the door. They're down by 20. A personage of Bill McColgan in the very cold box today. How are you, sir? Lurking. Oh, thank you. Hold my hand a little more. You're the only thing that's warm right now. Come on, Harvard. Stick it in there and let's make a game out of this.
Time is not exactly an ally.
No, it's not. They got to score here, and they got to put another quick score on the board. Okay, I got it. 100 years of age at Harvard Stadium, the national landmark. Welcome back, everybody. Bob Norton, Ed Berliner, and the crew as we start the fourth quarter between Penn and Harvard. They're showering the Penn folks over on the other side with something. Is that food? I believe it is. It is toast.
Big score with the...
You got to see that if we get a chance, but we'll come back to that in a moment. This is more important. From the 8, Dawson on the outside near the 6.
That was just, again, we keep saying this, but he keeps making plays. That was just an outstanding linebacker play. Lotak just ran that play down from his linebacker spot. Another score with Delaware, Massachusetts implications. Delaware leads UMass 24-21 with 5:47 remaining in the third period. Probably a little later than that by now.
Dawson 15 yards shy of 1,000 yards here on the season. It'll be second down from the 6. Harvard needs a score, and they need one fast. Dawson is going to bounce back thanks to a huge push this time by the Penn Quaker defense. Greg Jones, big in the middle along with the rest.
Well, Sandoval, if you don't get Lotak on one side, you get Sandoval on the other, and Sandoval linebacker just filled the hole and stuffed that play. Get good help from the down lineman in holding up the blocks, but he just was a big-time play stuffer there as we see Coach Bagnoli.
But I just want to point, see what the players are picking up? That's the toast that the Harvard fans threw at the sideline players for Penn. The toast here will be Harvard if they can't get in the end zone and do it quickly. Fitzpatrick deals and touchdown Crimson. On a beautifully thrown ball to Matt Fratto. The senior tight end out of Waltham.
He sort of lulled him to sleep. He lined up in the tight end position, and he was open earlier, and Fitzpatrick overthrew him down the middle, but he just lines up on that right tight end position, and they lose him, and the action holds the linebackers, holds the defensive backs. He beats Seth Fisher to the corner and scores.
It's exactly what Harvard needed with 1:15 gone here in the fourth quarter, and the extra point. Perfect. And now all of a sudden what was 20 points is now 29-16. They'll need another score, but here's one that might put them back in it, Bob.
Yeah, Fratto's lined up to the right side. He just does a little slide. The ball's come back, and Fratto's got a swing man. The back is floating over to the right side. Fratto down into the flat, out toward the flag, the goal line. And he's wide open. The tight end doesn't often get this kind of separation from the corner, but he does there.
9 plays, 70 yards, 2 minutes and 35 seconds, and the band's got something to play about, although I'll tell you the only thing warm in that band is that Mexican hat.
You know, that's what
we're in Mexico getting a suntan here today.
That's what the good running quarterback does for you. You know, when Fitzpatrick starts to roll out that way, I'll tell you, all those defensive backs begin to think, I've got to be ready to cover run, and you can find somebody open in the flat as he does there with Fratto. Nicely done. 29-16. Time not an ally of the Crimson. 13:45 remaining in the fourth quarter.
I'll try and get it back quickly here. This time it'll all start. Adam Kingston will kick it off. Duval Thompson and Jonathan Robinson.
They need 2 scores.
We'll be down in the now slightly chillier end of the closed stadium as the sun begins to set here. And we're about 65% of the field in darkness. Kingston with a liner that will go to the 5-yard line. That's where Robinson takes it. Cuts cross. 20. And that's all. Just across the 20.
They were trying to get the return right. They had that wall set up on the right-hand side, and Robinson just couldn't get the ball kicked on the left side, opposite to where they had the return set up. They never could get it to be able to run it effectively.
It's Matt Fratto.
What Penn, yeah, he's a good football player. Was an outstanding football player at Waltham High, and he's had a good career here at Harvard. Been a regular for all of his time here after his freshman year.
Here comes Mike Mitchell now. They've been in control the entire game, scoring on their first 2 possessions. 29-16, and Mitchell's going to look to put another quick strike on the board. Even take up some time, floats one out near side. It's picked off by the Crimson. Chris Raftery is right there on a float meant for Joe Phillips. And in the space of a couple of seconds, Harvard has exactly what they needed and what they were hoping for. A score and the pick. The turnover is theirs. They're inside the 50.
Well, Mitchell doesn't throw this ball far enough to the outside. He throws it inside. Very difficult in the wind to throw the ball downfield exactly where you want to put it. The ball holds up. Raftery's got inside position. When you throw that pass, you've got to throw it out toward the sideline, so the only one who can catch it is the wideout.
And a very, very athletic pick, too, because that's easy. One that falls through your hands. He's right there. His 4th pick of the season. Fitzpatrick going to work right to the air. 35 and 30-yard line. The Crimson moving. Steve Lotek. The only reason why Brian Edwards and crew weren't able to get by. That time, Corey Mazza, the freshman out of Thousand Oaks, California, was able to pull it in. First down, 29. Fitzpatrick, short passing game. Clifton was met that time immediately.
Doug Middleton, the cornerback to that side, he read that play all the way. He was sitting out in the flat and level coverage out there, just waiting for the first player to come out in the flat to cover. That was the back out of the backfield. Simultaneous hit, good play.
Fitzpatrick,
good play.
10 of 21, 134 yards on the day.
Penn rushing with 3, covering with 8.
Second down, they'll stay to the ground, and Dawson inside the 25.
Not a bad call. You heard what I just said. Covering down lineman 3, covering with 8. Whenever you have that kind of package, you always have the chance to pop something through there on the run because you only have 3 down linemen, a lot of space.
Luke Haddon on the tackle. Third down and 5. Could say there's linen on the field.
Yep, I think that's a...
Strallendorf looked like that he jumped.
No, I think the center hiccuped.
Let's see. Harvard's backing up. They know. Or they think they know.
Well, we'll see.
Leave it at that.
They may have seen both. We'll see. There's clearly discussion now. Looked to me as if the center moved, but we'll see.
Foul, false start prior to the snap, offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat third down.
Let's have a quick look on their 7th penalty for 51 yards. Watch the center. Now, did the center move, or was that a defender who moved? Was that Strallendorf? Now, from that angle, it looks like Strallendorf was the first to move.
The defender can move first. He doesn't have to.
But it looked like he crossed the line.
Well, maybe.
That's the look right there. It looked like he might have crossed. Huh? Whatever it is, Fitzpatrick's got to go to work and try and make up for it. That's not the way to do it. As he misfires on a shot to Clifton Dawson. And it'll be 4th down.
I'm not sure how far he's going to go anyway. Luke Haddon was right out there in the flat. Remember, they got all the backs and linebackers that can run out on the football field. Right now, they have 3 down linemen covering with 8.
They'll go for it on 4th down. 29-16. 12 minutes and change to go. Huge play for the Crimson. Fitzpatrick, low snap. He's got to pick it off the ground. He has a man open in the middle, but he can't deliver it. He sees if he can get rid of anything first, and it's picked by Penn. Luke Haddon is there. Fitzpatrick did everything he could, trying desperately to find someone. He might have had a man open in the middle momentarily, but he simply was not able to plant and get a good look, and the Quakers are back in business. And they have the lead and the football.
He was rolling around the backfield trying to find somebody to pass. That play was messed up right from the snap when he doesn't. Now, right now, you just got no play. You just got to hope that your quarterback can buy some time, find somebody downfield, but he's running out of sideline here. Everybody's surrounding him, and Haddon out of Morristown, New Jersey, picks the interception off. Right place, right time. Penn with the ball again. Huge play. 12:06 remaining, and Penn continues to hold on to that 13-point lead.
Oh, what an emotional swing for Fitzpatrick and the Harvard Crimson. 12:06. Mitchell and the Quakers are taking over. Thanks to Haddon's 3rd interception this season, they'll give the ball to Sam Matthews and run him across the 45-yard line.
You know,
Dante Balistracci and Ben Butler driving him out of bounds.
When you look back on games and you look at reasons why you lose or reasons why you win, obviously Penn has played well and dominated Harvard for much of today's game. But there, when they still had a chance to win it, what are the 2 things that killed them? 1, an offside, and 2, a bad snap. So you had 2 mistakes,
on 2 consecutive plays, 3rd and 5, that just puts you in trouble.
2nd and 3 from the 46. Matthews at the 50. That's where they'll bring him down.
That's a very tough play to cover.
Monte Zakuma, number 25, in on the tackle as they're just barely across midfield. Look at Matthews here as he comes out of the backfield.
Well, see, they run short motion with Matthews. They run the 2 wide receivers to that side, just clear out the side, and Joe Phillips, the inside of the 2 receivers, runs a little pick.
There's the scene of Fitzpatrick trying to talk to his coaches up here in the press box and see what they can do when they get the football back. Penn is going to see if they can hang on to it, though, chew up some clock here, because they've got midfield and a first down. Matthews just put them to work. That's pretty much what we're going to see all day. Bobby Everett, the outside linebacker, number 43, makes the stop, picks up maybe 4 yards on the play. 2nd and 6.
You know, Penn they don't get away from what they do offensively. They throw the ball to wideouts and throw it to the back out of the backfield. But from just one person's perspective up here, this is the time that I think it would be appropriate to go to a back out of the backfield, short passing game, burn some time off the clock.
Sam Matthews, the sophomore running back, 15 carries and 55 yards, averaging about 4 yards a pop as we see him, and it's 2nd down. Pass right across the middle, 40, down to the 30, down near the 20. Joe Phillips, the senior out of Shawnee High in Medford Lakes, New Jersey. Ben Butler finally corrals him, and it's a huge gain for Penn down near the 20, make it the 21-yard line.
Well, when you get guys who can run, and Phillips can run, this is very tough. He's in the slot. He comes underneath all the coverage. Short pass right on the money. He's going left to right with speed, heads up the field, big gain. That's a very hard pass to cover. Slot back coming across the middle, underneath the defensive coverage.
Harvard needs a bit of luck, a good defensive stand, another turnover, because the time is running short. Inside, 10 minutes. Break left side. Matthews has got a hold. Busts across the 15-yard line to about the 14. Bobby Everett is part of the gang that's in there again.
When we watched film of Penn, video of Penn before the game, one of the things you could see was the ability that Matthews had to change direction at the point of attack. Now watch, he changes direction but doesn't stop heading upfield. Makes a little step to the left and then doesn't flatten it out. He steps right again with the right foot upfield.
2nd and 4. The handoff does not go to Matthews. This time there's a flag down on the play as Kevin DeSmet takes it this time.
Well, they ran this play earlier. It's very tough for Harvard to defend. They start the running back in motion right to left, and then they end up getting coverage that way with the linebacker. They run the fullback right through the hole. Looked like a holding area.
The holding area. The holding area. I like that, the way that was put.
Whenever you see a flag there, as an old offensive line coach.
On the offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot. Repeat, 2nd down.
If you've ever been a line
65.
coach in your life, you'll know when a penalty is holding. I mean, sometimes it's the way the officials throw the flag. You know, like, I finally got you. They throw with they throw with an aggression.
There is an aggression to it when they throw it. It's that weighted end that goes in there.
Yeah, they just they throw it with a certain
Watch the
relish.
right side of your screen.
Watch the right. Let's see. Little motion. See, they get the linebacker going. Linebacker goes.
Right there.
Hold on the right side.
It's the arms. When you bring those arms out like that and they start to make that wrap motion there, that's when you get them.
You can see that's another film play. They saw what the linebacker did in film when the man started in motion.
2nd and 13. Jonathan Robinson comes back to the football on the reception inside the 20-yard line. Bobby Everett again. A few others, including John Burrier, the right tackle.
2 receivers out to the left, 2 wide receivers out to the left. And what they do is they take the outside receiver, run him inside. Again, very difficult when you got a quarterback who can throw. It's almost like a wide receiver screen because the linemen just flow out there and throw blocks. Nice, well-thrown ball. Boy, I tell you, he's very, very accurate. He's been off a couple times, but boy, I tell you, over the course of the game, not very much.
4 of 9 on 3rd downs for the Quakers. We've got a 3rd and about 7. Mitchell down near the 5. One hand up. Phillips wasn't able to pull it in that time because Chris Raftery, the free safety, was all over him. It was a little high and a little behind him.
Well, I'll tell you, Raftery does a great job because he is about as alone as you can be in that situation. He's a safety man. Inside receiver is Phillips. Phillips goes down and makes a little turn in. And I think Raftery does an excellent job of staying with him, knocking down that pass.
So they'll try and get back a couple of the points that they lost earlier in the game. This is Peter Veldman will come on for a 35-yard field goal. Kick is perfect. Make it a 35-yarder. Penn is celebrating. They feel they have this game in the bag, and indeed they may. We're back for the final 7:45 from Harvard Stadium right here on CN8. Impressive players, these Penn kids.
Yeah, they are good players.
You know what I'm going to buy for next year's football games?
What?
Thermal socks.
My feet are fine.
My feet are freezing. It's my extremities. It's my
it's
my toes. I do.
Probably have a heart condition that's undiagnosed.
You think?
Yeah.
Really?
If your toes and fingers are cold.
Have to see about that. Thanks for making me think that I might not have long to live. Okay. Okay, Bob's just declared me legally dead. Welcome back to Harvard Stadium. Bob Norton, Ed Berliner, thanks so much for joining us here as we may be 7 minutes and 45 seconds away from coronating Penn as the outright winner in the Ivy League this year. 32-16. Look at some of the numbers here, and you'll see that when it comes down to total yards, it's not as if it's all that different. But again, let's remember that Penn jumped out to a 14-0 lead early on the first two series. Bang, bang, they were in there. And then it was 22-0 really in the second quarter. They didn't have to roll up a lot of yardage.
Right. Penn chose the wind. They had a squidgy kick down to Harvard. Harvard couldn't make a first down, punted. Penn took over 35, took it in. Penn kicked off again, another funny kind of kick. Harvard couldn't make a first down. Penn took over at the 49, ran it in again. So, I mean, those two possessions didn't take long, take advantage of the wind for Penn to cause Harvard a lot of trouble. That was a great decision by Coach Bagnoli, and it was an even better decision because the players made it work.
9 plays, 44 yards, took 4 minutes and 21 seconds at Veldman's 35-yard field goal. Corey Waller, Chris Raftery are back. Let's go to work. Raftery is the man who takes it across the 15 near the 20. And that's where Harvard will have a chance to see if they can strike fast after a 17-yard return.
You know, the reason that I think that early part of the funny-looking kicks was strategy is because since they've established a lead, whenever they've kicked off, they boom the ball down to the 3 or 4 yard line. It was the opening 3 kicks that was sort of funny kind of kicks that difficult to handle, kick sort of on the side, bouncing kicks that created lots of problems for Harvard and resulted in good field position for Penn.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, the junior, he's been hurt today. He leads the Crimson. And he's going to stay on the ground and just get a yard or two because the Penn defense is just going to start teeing off at this point. They feel they've got this one in the bag. Clifton Dawson, number 33, the freshman running back, whom some have called one of, if not the best freshman to come down the Ivy League pipe in a long time. This kid has taken a lot of punishment today.
Well, I played against Cosmo Iacovazzi. We're not ready to crown him yet.
I knew there had to be a reason in there why you were not ready to crown him and others are. Going long down near the 40. Not going to go anywhere. Edwards wants a call, and he's not going to get it because Rudy Brown said I had good coverage, and the official agrees. Brown out of Harbor City, California, and Mary Star of the Sea High School. Senior, bringing his last season here for the Quakers.
Calvin Hill, Dick Kazmaier. There's some legends.
Let's look at this again, and if you use that phraseology, non-call, there's a lot of contact going on
I
there.
think that's a good play. Okay, but I don't want my defensive secondary man to play
but
like
again,
that.
it's back to the play.
Yeah, that's all right.
Some will call that immediately.
I thought it was a good play.
Fitzpatrick Gets away from one. He's got some time. The problem is he's looking for someone. He does have a man near the 50, and that's exactly whom he finds. Finally getting loose. There's a flag on the play back at the 20. So we may just see it all come back anyway.
It's going to be holding.
And that time it was...
Joe Majali's the one that held. The only reason you can tell is he's the only one arguing with the official.
It's usually the guy arguing with the official that you find will have the problem. Brian Edwards finds him.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
And what happens a lot of time when your quarterback scrambles at the line of scrimmage, you have an illegal man downfield, and that's exactly what happened here. Inside 7 minutes to go. Look, Fitzpatrick did a heck of a job here just trying to get away, but eventually when you have that kind of a scramble, somebody is going to release. Matt Fratto is downfield. 5 of 15 on third downs for the Crimson as they find themselves with a 3rd and 14. Closing in on 6 minutes to play in the game. Under pressure, down, just manages to chuck it off to Clinton Dawson. 20, 25, 30. Lost his shoe, did Fitzpatrick, that time on the tackle. And I can tell you that I hear the pounding behind me, and I know that's got to be one of the Penn coaches who's saying we had him down. Make the call.
Well, I thought that was good play. Again, good play by the officials because I didn't think he was down.
He was not down.
No. It
was an excellent call, an excellent non-call. I think we've had better non-calls today than we've had calls, I think, Bob.
Yep.
1st and 10. Fitzpatrick still keeping them going. The flat, the safety, Dawson near the 50. That's where he'll go out of bounds inside Quaker territory. Pat McManus, the senior corner, drove him out.
Well, you're going to be able to make plays like that because Penn is giving Harvard some of the passing game. They're trying to make sure that Harvard doesn't beat them deep, and they're going to give them some of the short passing stuff. They're still rushing with 3. Let's see, they may pick a shot here to come at them with some pressure.
Because regardless of how you look at it, Harvard still has to put 3 scores on the board inside of 6 minutes. Fitzpatrick, Dawson, wide open on the outside, brought down near the 35-yard line.
Well, we said that before. Once when you get into this 3-down lineman, one of the things you can do is you can run the ball pretty effectively, and that's what they do in that play.
And that run right there, to talk about him being the best freshman, first Ivy freshman for 1,000 yards in a season. That breaks the record for Clifton Dawson. They're going to go after a little more. Fratto out on the far side, inside the 25-yard line. Rudy Brown is there. Duval Thompson is the guy who catches up. Let's look at this run one more time. This is the one that puts Clifton Dawson, the freshman out of Scarborough, Ontario, into the record books in the Ivy League.
Well, he earns it. He gets a lot of hard yards. He doesn't make anything very easily. He's a good inside runner. He takes some hits to earn the yards.
Fitzpatrick this time. Plenty of ticks of the clock to go to work. He's got a wide open field in front of him down to at least the 10-yard line. He'll try to get out of bounds, and he does at the 7. This kid has shown an amazing propensity to really be intelligent when it comes to having that open field in front of him.
Great block made that happen. Nick Carrington, who was sort of sitting over there in the flat waiting for Fitzpatrick to be used him as an outlet receiver, through the block that sprung Fitzpatrick loose.
We got a player down on the field for Penn. Look at the block.
That was a great shot by Carrington. There's another one. But the block by Carrington was a beauty.
Well, Fitzpatrick and Tim Murphy decide what they're going to do next. If you look on the field by the 8-yard line, you'll see them very gingerly taking up the figure of one Robert Fallon, the junior left defensive end out of Cardinal Gibbons High School in Fort Lauderdale. He was clutching the back of his right leg. Looked like maybe a hamstring back there. Some might have tightened up, or he might have loosened one up there, but he's going to go off.
He's another one of those guys for Penn. What makes the defense so effective? He can run. He does a great job away from the flow, weak side pass protection, getting that into the defensive backfield.
Dawson still not the best freshman in the Ivy League?
Well, I'm not ready to coronate him the best anything. He set a record.
There you go. The ball gets away from Fitzpatrick. The Quakers have the ball in an improbable series. Kevin Youngie winds up with the football as Fitzpatrick, I don't think he knew the ball was coming on that snap the way he turned.
Well, second time that they've been in position to score that they've had exchange problems. They had a bad snap the last time they were down here, and this time
Watch his
he's
head.
calling. He wasn't ready.
Yep, he was not ready at all. The ball was snapped. He didn't even know it was coming.
Got hit off the shoulder pad, never had a chance.
Oh, my.
That's a mess up. Well, that's this is why you end up in a situation where you're behind the ball game. I mean, Penn beating them, but that's not the only reason. But two bad exchanges when they're, if not knocking on the door, at least deep in Penn's territory.
So the Quakers, with 5 minutes to go, will simply try to run out the clock.
Well, I would think that
they'll do it with Sam Matthews.
That's what I would think at Sam Matthews' time. I think that'd be good strategy in my book to give him the ball and see if we can shorten this game a little bit.
So inside of 5 minutes to go, it's interesting, too, to point out that for Harvard, Andy Smith, their usual center, Will Johnson, the backup center, the sophomore, was in there. So sometimes when you get those young kids in there in the backups, that's when things like that happen.
Well, he's played all game, though. That shouldn't happen at this stage of the game. He knew the snap count.
Matthews again, his 18th carry, as Bobby Everett and the crew wrap him up. I'm so much more forgiving than the coach.
Well,
you're right. No, you're exactly right.
I mean, somebody made a mistake. You can't.
He did make a mistake.
Yeah, we're not down the field. Could have been Fitzpatrick's call was wrong. You don't know whether it's a quarterback. But anytime there's an exchange problem, it's either the center or the quarterback. The old T in the T formation, when it wasn't shotgun, you always blame bad exchanges on the quarterback. But this was just a mistimed shotgun exchange.
First down at the 20. It's more Matthews. Nice spin move this time. Chris Raftery, the free safety, is in there in the gang to bring him down. And the clock continues to run. The ally of Penn, as it has been most of the game since their quick 2 strikes in the first quarter. The Quakers came into this game having clinched at least a share of their second straight Ivy League title. It would have been the first ancient 8 team in 10 years.
Harvard. That is their second charge timeout of the second half.
To repeat as champions, they take a timeout, and so do we. That's the Varsity Sports Zone. Okay, you got it. Okay. By the way, nice job, everybody down on the truck today. A nice job of the camera people, you guys. Very nice job covering a lot of stuff down there today. It's chilly, Bobby.
Yes, it is, my friend.
You and I do hockey together. I'm going to make sure to have the... Yeah, I'll wear my cowboy boots next time.
Warmer in the hockey rink.
Here we go. We're going to leave you from Harvard Stadium soon, and we want to remind you that coming up next is the Comcast Varsity Sports Zone. It is that time of year. It's playoff time. Everybody is getting pumped up because here come those one-shot deals. Doesn't get better than this. You know high school action. You know it, too. If you're looking for some of the region's best hard-hitting high school football action, CN8. Get in the zone right here. 3:49. Mitchell back to work. Pass out near the 30-yard line.
It's his tight end with that one. Just a little turnout by the tight end, Brian Adams, who's had a couple of 2 or 3 nice receptions today. And once again, I'm so impressed with the way Mike Mitchell, a senior out of Orlando, Florida, first team All-Ivy last year. And
now, Harvard. That is their last charge timeout of the second half. Harvard is out of timeouts.
Mitchell came into this game with 4,900 yards passing. It's going to be tough to catch Gavin Hoffman, the all-time passer for Penn, with 7,542 yards. But with his work here today, he still is firmly entrenched as one of the best in the Ivy League, and certainly one of the best in Penn history. 20 of 33, 271 yards, 3 touchdowns for number 12 for Penn. Those 3 touchdowns, as a matter of fact, give him 42 on his career, 8 shy of Hoffman's all-time record.
4th all-time is an interesting name.
Mark DeRosa.
Where's that ring a bell from?
Rings a bell. I'm going to let you go ahead and tell
Shortstop, Atlanta Braves.
There you go.
And Bergen Catholic High School. Oradell, New Jersey.
Another one from Bergen Catholic. Gotta get that right. Gotta get that in.
How terrible.
Terrible nothing. That's perfect.
I'll tell you, Coach is, there's a little sense of frustration with some of the other college coaches. Coach has made a living on those Bergen Catholic kids. Had a lot of good ones. Jim Finn's another one.
Mitchell now with a 3rd down. 3:39 to play. Pass, first down. Brian Adams. Brian Adams got it. Bobby Everett had him, and Everett thought he had him for a drop, but he didn't. Adams out of Jackson High in Jackson, New Jersey, the senior, playing in his last season.
Well, he's done a very good job, and it's an excellent. They can play the wide receiver game or the tight end possession game, and when you've got a quarterback that's very accurate, either in the wide game or the short game, it makes it so difficult because when they throw those balls to Adams, they're right on the money, and he catches them. And they're also extremely strong on the outside with Castles, Phillips, and the cast of characters they have as wideouts.
First down from the 36-yard line for the Quakers. Joe Phillips moving around in motion. Joe's not going to touch the football. Why? Because this guy's been doing a lot of the touching today. Ben Butler is there to finally take care of Sam Matthews, although too little and way too late to stop that young man. Let's go down to the field. Phil Burton. Phil?
All right, thanks a lot, Ed. If you take a look at the goalposts or beyond the goalposts, you see a lot of security down there. They're protecting the goalposts, Ed. They're waiting for these Penn fans because if they win this, you know what? They win the title, so they've been tearing the goalposts down at Penn, so they're just getting prepared. Back to you, Ed.
And I'll tell you what, too. If the guys down there in the security can't handle him, Phil Burton can. Because that man machine. Don't fool with my man Phil on the field.
I don't think there's enough Penn people here to take it. Well, there's a nice crowd from Penn, though, here today.
Mitchell, and again the handoff to Matthews. Matthews loses the football. Ben Butler has the football, and Butler's in a foot race to get into the end zone. He doesn't make it to the 1 for the Crimson.
Well, I'll tell you, Sam Matthews hasn't made many mistakes here today, and this Penn football team hasn't made many mistakes. 1 interception by Mitchell, but Matthews puts this one right on the ground, allowing Benny Butler to pick it up and race to the end zone.
Ben Butler at a St. Xavier High, hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, and the senior takes advantage of the mistake from Matthews. There it is as it pops out, and it's all his. And Mike Mitchell, the quarterback, eventually is part of the gang that tries to catch up to him. And in the end, Jonathan Robinson, the senior receiver, caught up to him. Here's the Crimson now, right down on the doorstep. The handoff. Crimson, the dive, Clifton Dawson. Touchdown, Harvard.
Well, nothing fancy about this one. They just turned around and ran a lead, fullback a lead to the tailback Dawson, putting it straight ahead runner. I'll tell you, talk about impressive things. Mitchell catching defensive corner Benny Butler heading to the end zone. That impressed me here today. They got to go for 2.
And here we go, play the game of if only, if only.
Well, they got to go for 2 here. This will be another if only.
They could have taken advantage of some of the key opportunities they've had here in the 4th quarter. Fitzpatrick strings it out. Fitzpatrick will make the dive for the 2 points. Harvard, 32-24.
He's awfully tough in that kind of situation. Straight down the line option with Dawson as the pitch man, and he just waits for a crease and heads up, and you're just trying to stop him with 2 yards. Very, very difficult to do that with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Outstanding runner. Now you're onside kick.
And suddenly, with 2 minutes and 12 seconds to go, this touchdown changes everything.
Fullback lead, tailback carry, fullback right behind the big, strong fullback on the inside, Clolan Blackburn. They make that one in the end zone easily.
Just when you thought the Crimson have run out of life, they managed to find another bottle of oxygen high up on the mountain.
Everybody with
They're breathing again.
Everybody with a decent pair of hands on the Penn campus is on the football field right now for the legendary hands team. Kingston will do the kickoff.
Now, Duval Thompson, the defensive back, is around the 25-yard line. He'll never see the football.
No.
Kingston has got that ball about as flat to the ground as you possibly can and still be able to get a piece of it.
Yeah, you got to have somebody back as a safety if they
watch. Exactly what they wanted is the pop in the air, and Harvard can't take advantage. Gabe Marabella is there to make the catch for the Quakers. It was exactly as you have it drawn up, and they couldn't. They had three players right in the vicinity and couldn't come down with it. Look at it again.
They did exactly what they wanted to do. They get the good bounce, the high hop, and what you have to hope for if you're Penn is that Marabella, the wide receiver, makes the play, doesn't get knocked loose from the ball, and you get the football.
2 minutes and 11 seconds to go. Harvard has no timeouts. So from the 49-yard line, the Crimson are hoping to get one more shot.
Well, they shouldn't even. They're going to run to give the ball to the tailback, but they don't have to do much of handing off.
They stop Matthews, and there's what is more commonly known as the extracurricular activity.
Well, they're trying to steal the ball.
Sure.
They have no timeouts left, so they're trying to steal the football.
I don't blame them one bit at this point, because Penn's got to do a good job protecting the football now, because Tim Murphy has told his guys, get in there, dig in hands, try and get anything you can.
They're almost at the point. I'm trying to do a little math in my head here to see how much they have to run the ball. They'll take this right down to the one. He can see the clock right in front of him. He'll take this down to the 1 second mark.
Mitchell, 21 of 34, 279 yards, and now Penn takes a timeout and stops the clock with 1:36 to go. Well, do the math, because if you have a 25-second clock.
Penn, that is their second charge timeout of the second half.
You've got a 25-second clock, which, figuring if the clock doesn't stop, you then give yourself, there's 46 seconds left. After that, you run a play. Harvard may come up with a few seconds if they can hold them here.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend too much time handing the ball off a lot.
Harvard may get a shot. There is just enough time on the clock if the Crimson can hold them. And they get a break. They may get one pop down the field. This game is not over yet. Al Bagnoli in his 12th season. He is 9-2 against Harvard coming into this game. He has worked wonders with the Penn Quakers football team and keeping them so competitive for so long. This is a man, and I'll tell you, it's funny how they talk about it too, because Steve Lotak, the captain, said there is no settling with Penn football. It's on the front cover of their press release this week, and that's the way they feel. You don't settle here. You don't settle for a tie in the Ivy League. You go right out and drive for that championship. This would be their 14th Ivy League championship if Penn can win it here today. 14th all time.
Back in the glory days of Penn football in the 40s, they played everybody in the country.
Second down from the 49. Wrapped up quickly is Sam Matthews. Zakuma's there. Balistracci's there. 1:26. Watch the clock in the upper portion of your screen. Third down.
And that 25-second clock doesn't start, even though the clock keeps running, 25-second clock doesn't start to run till the referee puts the ball in play.
5 of 11 on third downs. There is 10 seconds left on the 25-second clock. They take it right down to a second. Mitchell's going to throw, and it gets in and out of the hands. The incomplete pass to Kevin DeSmet will stop the clock. It'll be fourth down. Penn will have to punt the football, and the Crimson will get a shot.
I tell you what, you tell your punter right now, under no circumstances can you get this punt blocked. If there's somebody that's going to be able to come in and block the punt, eat the ball. You're much better off eating the ball than you are having the punt blocked and somebody running, knocking the ball back to your 5-yard line.
Brian Edwards stands at his 15-yard line. Josh Appel. The kick goes to the 25 and goes out of bounds. They'll mark it at the 23. Appel is limping. He might have pulled a hamstring there. Looked like he did. A 28-yard kick. But here we go with 44 seconds to go.
Well, it wasn't pretty, but what you were concerned about there from the Penn standpoint is, 1, get the snapback clean, and 2, get the punt off. That's it. If it's 28 yards, it's 28 yards. 44 seconds remaining for Harvard. They have no timeouts, but they're going to air it out anyway, so the clock's going to stop every time they incomplete it.
Ryan Fitzpatrick did not figure to be in the game, having been hurt earlier. He will try to get out of bounds, and he does at the 29.
Ryan Fitzpatrick to the 29-yard line.
He was trying to see if he could get it downfield to the most sure-handed guy, Brian Edwards, who was down near the 35.
Well, they had about 6 guys in white shirts down there by the 35 as well.
What do you have, rush one guy at this point maybe, Bob?
No, they're going to rush straight. They'll rush straight. Got to keep a little on.
Be facetious about it at least, but have everybody back in the pattern. 2nd and 3. Fitzpatrick steps up.
That's a fumble.
He throws it forward. The officials have thrown a flag. They're calling it an intentional grounding. I believe they will.
Yep, good goal. Lost it down, too. That's a good call.
There was nobody in the vicinity as he just chucked the football forward.
If you didn't call it intentional grounding, you would have to call it a fumble.
That's exactly what it is. They'll call it grounding. Watch again as Fitzpatrick is under pressure. No one in the vicinity whatsoever.
Illegal forward pass, intentional grounding on the offense, penalized at the spot of the foul, loss of down, 3rd down.
I tell you, referee Steve Matarani's done a great job of explaining stuff, hasn't he? Has
done.
Boy, what a tremendous job this officiating crew's done.
Without his teeth chattering either. The officials now are going to call time. They're discussing. They're all okay. 3rd down. 30 seconds to play in the game. Fitzpatrick, sideline. It'll be a 1st down.
The
clock will stop as they move the chains, but everybody's got to move. They'll come right up.
They're going to just knock it down on the ground.
They wait for the official, exactly what they do. Fitzpatrick waits for the official to give him the go. So now 20 seconds to go from the 48-yard line.
Little did we think that this game was going to end up this tight, but somehow they frequently do.
Little did we know, with a 22-0 lead for Penn early, and Harvard has a chance. Fitzpatrick across the field, got a man. Who else? Brian Edwards, 35-yard line. Everybody moving up. Again, they'll move the chains. Clock is stopped. Luke Hatton on the tackle. Again, Fitzpatrick comes up, grounds the ball.
What you got to watch out for now, and Luke Hatton almost did it right there. You got to make sure, you have to make sure that when you make the tackle or have one of those hits, you make a tackle and don't bounce off the receiver and allow that receiver to just head downfield.
Here comes the last pass again. Let's see exactly what you were talking about.
See,
right
Luke
there.
Hatton makes the hit right there. You got to make the tackle. Now, fortunately, he had some help there, but sometimes you make that bump and he's gone.
Fitzpatrick, long ball, pass inside the 20-yard line. Ryan Tyler is there. They're moving up.
Probably got a play, maybe 2.
Pat McManus makes the play. Fitzpatrick with the 1st down.
Penn had to call timeout.
They stopped earlier before he was able to ground the ball. The officials were signaling. 7 seconds in the game. 1st down. 18 yards separating the Harvard Crimson from a shot at the tie.
See, that had to, Penn had to call timeout.
Stop the momentum.
Well, no, he stopped the momentum.
Get
squared away
they
as
have
to what
to
you want to do.
Exactly.
This is the game right here. You got 7 seconds left.
Last charge timeout.
You can't let Harvard determine the pace of play here when you have a timeout in your pocket. You can't use it on the bus back to Pennsylvania. You know, you got to use it now to make sure you get everybody settled in and you get the right defense call for what you think Harvard's going to call for a play.
Fitzpatrick, 16 of 31, 231 yards.
What an athlete,
He has been beaten and broken today in a lot of instances and has been right back in. Garrett Shires came in for a time.
No quitting him.
But he has a chance. Again, a 22-0 lead for the Penn Quakers in the first half.
You might squeeze 2 plays in here, but it's got to either be touchdown or first down.
Fitzpatrick with 7 seconds to play in the game. Looking to get rid of it quickly. Going for the sideline. Will the clock run out before he does? Inbounds. The pass is completed, but the clock reads double zeros. The Crimson of Harvard, 6 yards from a touchdown, but the clock expires on the game, and the clock expires on their hopes to upset the champions of the Ivy League, the Penn Quakers. Their 13th conference championship. And the players meet at midfield to celebrate the championship. We are going to come back to talk to some of those involved in today's game that goes right down to the wire in a thriller at Harvard Stadium. Stay with us here on CN8.
Okay.
See, it says 13, but they already had 2003 sitting there. Okay. Good game,
hold
buddy.
on, they said in a second.
Nice job. Who does Phil have? Do we know? We got Bagnoli? Wonderful. It's 52.
I'm okay. I'm a little relieved right now. We've never made it this close. So.
It's the best kind of victory, though. When it comes down to the wire, how he's pumping.
Yeah, it's the best kind of victory. It'll give a coach agita.
Okay. We'll take it. It's a tough place to play. Oh, yeah. Really tough place
Yep.
to play.
Yep. It's going to come back to us.
How long do we have?
You got about 30 seconds.
Okay.
Wow, what a thriller. That was fun. They are the champions of the Ivy League. They celebrate here at Harvard Stadium at the National Landmark. And we go